Playoffs has a strange way of changing your opinions about teams like that. Teams will ramp up when you least expect it. Sometimes you just gotta put yourself behind one team and say, oh, they'll be the one that grows this time with the occasion. Let's get on for game one. BLG IG. Crazy matchup here, folks. Say the Gyos.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
A shock to no one. IG's fans are here in force once more. Far the most popular team in the LPL right now, as we kind of see every time we see the crowd. Full of IG fans, and in some ways you can't be surprised. Just look at how many incredible names there are there. In fact, that's really cool. We've got ourselves unique icons for today at the top of the screen as well. I don't know whether that's a graphical bug or they're having some fun with it.
No, someone was saying in chat that potentially it was some local schools which drew the local logos for them potentially, which was, I don't know whether that's true or not. I am just parroting what someone had said in chat. If anyone knows more about it, please let us know. BLG vs IG with a bit more, yeah, a bit more flair in the logos today.
Probably worth noting again as well, Beichuan is the starting jungler again today. We had a switch out after game one. A loss that was there.
Well, it was a victory in the series, but a loss in the game.
Yes, it was noting. When Shadow switched out after the loss in game one and Beichuan came in. Played the rest of the series. Jarvan very much a champion at the moment, it feels like. Starting to get banned away semi-regularly. The likes of Xiaohao and crew.
We're going to push in here from Alkin on. The Nymaera does get that strong level 1. And yeah, there was a question, chat, you know, was Shadow benched for any particular reason? Was it performance or elsewise? As far as we can tell, it is performance. And Beichuan did come in and have a decent time with it, actually, once he did switch in. Credit to him. JDG have often been a bit of a banana peel for BLG. Managed to reverse sweep them with Beichuan coming back in. Of course, he lost one of those games too, but did win the 3 indeed afterwards. So he went 3-1, the rest of the team went 3-2.
It was definitely a tight series, to say the least. That game 5 ended up being decisive in favour of BLG. Worth noting, of course, that now in BLG's last 2 series, we've had all 4 of them junglers for BLG this year in the form of
Worth noting that he means with or against them.
Yes, very true.
So the way you're saying is like, what do you mean? They were playing with all 4 of them. Clarifying is whether with or against with Wei now playing against them now in this series, and they played against Shun in the last one against JDG.
And there's that little statistical reminder of how players have done in terms of success rates on the champions of late. Elk on the Nymaera, 1-3 right now, not been pretty.
Yeah, his late game particularly has just been a bit questionable. We questioned his build at certain points where he was trying to play dueling, brawly kind of fights with not really the lifesteal to deal with it. Beichuan maybe going for an evader. He has to level up on Wei, interestingly, until he finishes the camp just that. Wei a little bit slower on the clear compared to Beichuan. First grub will go, not grub, scuttle grab will go to Beichuan on the bot side.
I do occasionally call Yorick ghouls grubs. It's just, I think it's just because I've gotten so used to talking about grubs. It's just my go-to parlance for League of Legends. If you're not sure what the little gribbly thing is, it's a grub.
Yeah. Walks like a duck and talks like a duck. It's a grub.
It's a grub.
It's a grub.
Did you see for NLC we had a little poll in chat?
Yeah.
For the frog in the river, the little blue one.
Yep.
And we polled what the name would be, and it came out as Vrog. And then we had a massive tech pause and NLC files. And I think it's Joe, you know, as in Joe FX. He's one of our producers.
Oh, awesome.
And
he's very, very talented.
And he put together a video basically doing a dubstep breakdown of Rock that we ended up putting on screen in the break of Rock. It was incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
Tell you what, how you manage to pause content is part of the story of the broadcast. Let's get the shield today breakdown. Bring something back, use the heal to get in range for that. Mako, of course, use the heal in the trade scene.
Hardly anyone calls Yorick Suns Mistwolf. Is that their actual name? I've always called them ghouls.
Well, before they used to be the Omens, weren't they? So the little things. What did ghouls back then? We had like the Omen of War past. Oh, Mega.
Oh, the flash under the turret drags on quite deep, and both sports go oops.
Okay, right, both on and Mako take a bit of a trip too far in the wrong direction.
Baited.
And outsmarted, apparently, on completely both sides. Supports down for both, flash down for both supports.
Gets a little interesting. That's the heel blown by both as well. I'm not actually sure who that favors or whether it's just a bit of a wash. I'm going to go with a wash.
I think that's fair to say for now. Valkyrie actually used on the wave from Galaxy, wants to clear it out super quickly. Elk will collect it all the same, though Gala Done to recall now. Interesting to see if we're going to get lane swaps and when they're going to happen. BLG got the better of JDG in game 1 of their series versus them by just being at the wave a little bit quicker. And then after that, JDG actually managed to shape up in the lane swaps quite nicely. I want to see how IG are doing against BLG here on that metric. Doesn't have flash here, of course, towards Rookie. So there's no real threat there, but just making sure that there was someone hanging around mid lane in case.
6 hit by the Shy, goes for the wave clear. He's actually been a really fantastic Ornn this bit. I think arguably he's been my favourite Ornn to watch. He has been so crisp with those combos, even over someone like 369 who's normally the Ornn god of the LPL.
I think the Shy just in general as a tank player has been insane.
Yeah.
Typically we think of 369 as the guy that's our tank player really in terms of the best level. Flanders also pretty good at that too. But I do think that the Shy on the likes of Sion, Ornn, Cassante has not necessarily been his specialty, but I wonder if he could pick that up actually. I don't think he's played that since 23,
Really?
But yeah, I wonder whether that could be something for him. We could have a bit of a fight with this top scuttle crab actually. Why do you really want to commit? They have a look at it and say, no.
They go, wow, that's pretty. And they go, I guess we'll leave that alone. What I will say is Elk and Onn did roam to make that happen. They're going to lose a lot of a wave there to make that happen.
I don't know how much of that they had already. I guess none of it. They lose 3 of those minions in terms of XP and then another one in terms of the actual CS. The Scuttle Crab for a bit of a wave.
Yes, for IG, they're happy enough with that. They spot how many people in the river and go, yeah, probably not worth it. I mean, actually, Knight gets the all-in, tries to go to the other side. He's going to not quite get the turret shots. Don't come on through in time for Rookie, and Knight survives.
Solo kill, first blood for Knight. Incredible play between the mid laners. Always a marquee matchup between these two. And Knight stomps his authority.
Shy down here in this bot side, gonna think about what the hell just happened there. I thought Rookie might have just survived it. He's not going to get enough turret shots coming on through, and a wonderful level 6 play from the mid laner of BLG. He is the all-pro mid for a reason, having a fantastic first look in there.
And the only reason Rookie wasn't a first all-pro mid is because Knight just exists. And that is the problem with the LPL mid lane pools, that sometimes just Knight exists. Hook down to the top lane on no flash reminder.
And there's the pillar. He is stuck on the wrong side of that, and it's going to be a kill over the way.
Easy DPS down, no flash, pillar in to stop him from easily retreating after the hook lands as well. Killer piece now between IG and BLG. Against the replay now between these two, and no, Knight gets the Q, lands the ult, gets the shotgun, and decides, you know what, I've got this. One more passive proc, doubly to get the extra gap out there, and flashes before the second turret shot hits.
We thought that turret shot was going to be aggroed. It wasn't. It was so well timed. Back towards Grubs we go, though. Goes Baseman, doesn't get the knock-up, unfortunately. Realm Warp now coming in as well. Mako trying to body block one third of their spec. Baseman is going to die, but they'll lose Mako as well. Wait, low, not quite down. Elk trying to unleash with his cultivated spirit. Knight goes across the veil. Gala and Rookie, though, trading. Elk just about surviving. Looking for the rocket! Snipe as he finds that one. Valkyrie forwards with another, but the shotgun will come on through from Knight with the winning. Rookie and Knight trading out once more. It's been a 1v1 these two have been willing to take a hell of a lot across the veil. Still off vision. Knight got that control ward to play with. Rookie doesn't have it. The bush is proving too much value, and Knight lands another shotgun blast. He's 4-0.
4-0 on the body. As it is carnage in the top side, Knight realizes, look, I got red buff, I got my passive, I can chase you down with autos in a dream. Rookie dies in another 1v1 at the end of it, but IG gave it a good shot.
Just look at his infantry. He's got 9 stacks of Dark Seal at 9 minutes.
Way now on the bot side, trying to clean up some of this mess. Grubs going to be 2 over to the side of BLG. No contest from IG for the remaining ones. Well, of course, that's what happened around the last one. Managed to be successful with those Grubs, and BLG won it. Knight is such a force of nature when he gets himself a choice champion and he gets the right angle in the game with a good early game lead. I think that BLG in this split weirdly have been more Knight focused than they've ever been. They've never been a Knight focused team, but they've changed that as the games and the years have gone, the year has gone on really. In this one, you know, Knight did it himself. You'll notice really how much they're really putting into the Knight basket and to carry. Now, Rookie and Gala were alive at the end of this fight, and Elk's not really threat beyond it. Awesome rocket shot for Gala. But then, what makes the difference after this is, of course, the double blast coming through.
Well, come on in, the Shy, though. The Force God does land it on tonight. It will between worlds to escape. Does so. They'll know at this point he's got a 1,600 individual goldie. He is so fed. Rookies had to drop a couple waves, well, because he died 2 times. One was a great solo kill from that, one was the skirmish. But either way, Knight is absolute force of nature. As we were kind of saying, the shot comes up short.
There's a red buff
away. Yeah, I know. I get a little bit nervous. Reminder, the Spirit Abjuration does quite a lot of damage into tanks.
Yeah, the passive does an insane amount of work, and the Haunting Guys is already there, so you start ticking up some damage, and you start getting more from the Haunting Guys. It just gives you a percent increase, and everything missing onto L would have been crucial. Not just sidestepping, well played from him.
Flash down from Maker, but again, it is a Nautilus. Sometimes you want to use those flashes aggressively, as per that. Again, you've got the Spellbook. Your use of Summoners is certainly more permissible than on some other champions. The only thing I'll note at this point is we've seen BLG lead like this on players like this before, and it go very wrong somewhere between the sort of 40 to 22 minute mark, depending on how close to Atacon we grow.
Yeah. It just says that there does feel like there's a little bit of a short fuse on BLG. Explode in the early game, don't really necessarily have much after that point. BLG has stood for bad late game throughout so much of this split, which is kind of against everything we knew about this team from before. We thought, oh, just BLG will eventually find a team fight. They'll eventually find the carry moment they need. That's not been the case in Split 3 of this year. It's been a huge problem for them, especially against other top teams like IG. IG can drag them to late game and then beat them, I suppose, with experience. BLG are not exactly a rookie team either, but IG, they are amongst the most veteran rosters on the planet. And IG have been able to drag them to that late game and win.
That's because IG stands for Incredible Geriatrics. That's what it means. Right. Yeah. Which is, it feels a little harsh considering all these guys are still,
okay, bad late game versus incredible geriatrics. A matchup made only here on our channel, I suppose. Did we just take that cannon? I think he did, but he does want to go down to the spot side, use the Trundle with the Sheen onto that tower.
I thought him from bin there. Remember, they got the 2 grubs, but I think that's going to be first turret to BLG.
We'll see. I mean, there's a Trundle. There's a Trundle with a Sheen. See how that works out. Corki has a Triforce as well. Now, there are 3 people around this turret, which means it's going to get more resist quickly. BLG end up winning it. The extra grub end up getting it. I would have quite liked to see those HPs before we saw the first die observers. It would have been nice to see actually how close they were rather than eyeballing it.
And it is BLG who come away with it either way. Gets them a mark towards feat strength. Of course, it is worth noting that IG did get the 3 kills first in that massive kerfuffle top side, so they do have that marker towards feat strength. However, with the objectives, BLG got it on track. Turret in the bot side, though, is still going to go towards IG, so they actually get a second one to their name on flashing. Doesn't get the solar flare, and away flashes out of it.
Yeah, away flashes to dodge, so it's summoners for summoners. I suppose the person with the spellbook comes up better from that. BLG, they are really looking at this next 5 minutes now to say, right, we want to really start clearing a gold lead. 1,000 right now is fine, but we need to get more than that from the perspective of BLG. IG on the other side must be very aware on the other side and say, okay, look, we are still stacking up tiers. We know that the enemy team has the 1-item spike. Let's not give them the easy fights. If we're going to fight at all, it must be something that we're prepared to take.
Also note that while Knight's got an incredible lead, and it is a very, very scary one indeed. The Andrew's done already, extra needlessly large rod, the 9 stacks from the Dark Soul, there's a lot of AP on this Aurora very early on. Gala's also pretty damn strong right now, and I think for all that Jacula got MVP, I think if there was a contender out there, Gala's among them. He has been really, really great this split. Shout out to Kazel, who was very adamant it should have been Gala as your AD carry MVP, not Jackie. Not Jackie. Part of the community there who said, I got strong feelings for that. But I can understand it. He has genuinely been excellent this split alongside, honestly, IG in general. Their mid-game and late-game team fighting has been superlative to watch.
Yeah, on the other side, BLG, they did get Knight as first All-Pro. On made it in as 3rd, I want to say, All-Pro. I can't remember where. I can't remember if Elk was also on the list there too. But this team has been one which a lot of people have been questioning, where exactly the root cause of the issues are. They did finish 3rd in the regular season, but the standards we hold to BLG are so high after so many international finals. MSI 23, World Semi-Finals 23, and then MSI and World's Finals in 24, including a 5-game. They are held to such high standards. We have Dragon spawning now, BLG brute forcing their way down towards it. And about those issues, the changes in jungle are the first and foremost ones that you really think about. Doing a jungle change to a team is open heart surgery. BLG have been under the knife an awful lot of times.
They're going to allow to heal. Gala's in danger here. It's a twofold hex, and in comes a redemption, but it's not in time. And the Corki got absolutely blasted. Death charge on Tonight to try and deny the chase onto Mako, so Mako survives. But Gala just went, wait, what?
Okay, but the damage calculation from Knight is so clutch. They didn't think that the Corki was going to die. The redemption was pulled late, as was I suppose the flash from Gala, which wasn't pulled at all. IG lose their AD carry unexpectedly because Knight is so good on the calculation.
Warm out. Rookie. And BLG have now managed to extend the gold lead again. It was beginning to get a little narrowed. It's now back to a 2,000 mark. They get the Herald. They can look to put it mid. They've got a Dragon to work with. This is feeling very commanding right now.
BLG, he just said, well, you want to look for fights now, really? They do find one off the back of this just superb mid laner. Knight is just a generational player when he gets online. The question will be what happens after that point. Could Pill just stop the shot? I forget that it works like that, folks, but Herald Charge is not going to cleanly work into the mid lane. And I wonder, God, well, BLG gave up the Dragon setup for this now. That's a pretty big mistake, no? I actually didn't realize that's how the Trundle worked like that. They should know that. They play with it enough, both with Shadow and Beige-Man. And with way before them, I believe, too. So, BLG, get the kill, get the Herald. Nothing comes of it, though.
They don't quite get what they're after there. They tried to play it fast and get punished for the greed there. Respectful of where Wade could be and where that pillar could come down. I wonder whether the attempt to place it close to the turret was to try and deny that pillar angle. Either way, it didn't work. They will at least get to start up the Dragon here. And it doesn't look like IG are really in position to contest.
No. Wade's on the top side of the map, walking in towards the mid lane. Dragon should realistically go down now. IG denying that Herald is an important thing, because IG, look, they're on the back foot. They do have their first items down. They're, of course, building up towards their second. Dragon will go here. But IG, if they get some gold off for stuff like turret hit, this is important, because they're just trying to say, look, deny value from the Herald, get some gold out of the map where we can, and we'll start to bring you late game. The Ornn Trundle, surely they'll outvalue you later, even if the carries are on similar scaling. Those two might make the difference.
Beyond the wave here. Deletes it in a second. We'll take that turret and look at his inventory. Very close to the Shadow Flame. There's Dark Seal stack. Bin looking for potential angles or a teleport behind here, possibly. From Knight not going to come through yet as Bin gets low but not down. Wei has got the subjugate rolling redemption from everyone flying on top of Mako, who's now split off. Solar Flare. There's that TP we were talking about. And Knight gets another. Gala will Valkyrie away. The depth charge was delayed by the fact that Mako dies over the wall with the Hexgate. Rookie trying to flash away, but it's a 5v4. Elk slashing for the Arc of Rift. Mako looking for the Cataclysm angle and make sure that Gala's split off from the team. The Forge God is summoned, but I don't think they are believers. The Pantheon crumbles.
4 for 1 for BLG in the top side. IG were just trying to cross map for a little bit, and BLG say, no, you gotta put your fists up. IG weren't quite ready to get in the ring, and BLG take a huge fight. 10 stacks in the Dark Seal for Knight's been like that for a little while, as he has a second item, Shadow Flame, teleporting into that fight. He dunks down on them alongside Elk and Beige-Man. I think the Yunara has actually been very impactful in this early game so far in a way that we've not seen from Elk really on the champion so far.
Maybe about to get ganked. Are we going to find anything here? Go down and frozen to main. Knight trying to escape, but Mine doesn't have the ultimate to work with flashes. There's the heal, and I think Knight is potentially in a lot of danger. Bin's now coming, has dropped off Fission. Realm Warp's coming on in depth charge. Rookies there, they get 1,070 gold onto the
Trundle. Yeah. Folks, we've just talked a lot of praise about BLG. This is another thing we've known about BLG this split. Knight overstays and gives down shutdowns so easily. He was 8-0. He could not afford to play like that. Gives an easy kill over to IG. Yes, it goes over towards the Trundle, but any goal towards IG like that could become a problem in the future. Now, IG tried to cross map and say, well, just taking Dragon or whatever, we'll take the top side instead. And they just overstay a little bit. Mako, I wonder if Rookie should have just left him out to dry here, really. Get that earlier retreat. BLG take the first kill. Get a very good chase down. They have a lot of extended ability, which is slow, hitting the team in from the Aurora ultimate. Of course, the Hexgate's helping out.
Looking for Black Dragon Flash to come on through, but the Cataclysm still does enough to just catch 2, split Gala off. Get an extra 3 on the back end of it. Nicely played. Don't forget as well that you can use Jarvan Flag as a teleport wards. It's like, how did Knight get in? There was no wards. Oh, yeah.
Flag. Mid lane turret surviving from IG here, of course. Knight tried to hammer that down. The Herald failed on that earlier. And now, Atkan is alive. Atkan is alive. IG. They should really start putting their seatbelts on, get ready for off-road trip up towards that Atkan pit. That is where I think they can turn this game around. They are behind 2,000 to 3,000 gold, but BLG, this is where the problems start to come in. We even saw it versus JG in their last series. I thought, well, maybe it'll change the playoffs. I don't think it has just yet.
Blocked there by On to try and get a little bit of threat onto Gala, who does have to Valkyrie away. They get the mid lane tier 1. IG, on the other hand, have been one of our rare few good Atacon dancers.
It's not an LPL specialty, that's for sure.
Interesting. Well, it's not really about the Atacon, it's about the mid. Of course, the fact that Topside River is dark and full of BLG members should be worrying Invictus Gaming.
There was one ward in topside, a control ward in that top rush. They can walk up, see Knight there. They should know realistically this is going down. No teleports from IG to actually use that ward, but it helps them know where BLG aren't, I suppose.
Throw down a ward, try and fight the fire brush on over the wall, collect the Hex flash in, doesn't do so. Atacon at half.
It smells like an Atacon throw, Sam. I'm not gonna lie. It smells like an Atacon throw. It's been leashed down to half HP. Do IG choose to take the damage from it and keep it leashed? They do for now.
He goes in, that's a lot of damage, and they just lose way between worlds. They try to dance it well and they lose it. Call the forward coming across. The Atacon taken by BLG as a result of Wei dying. The Shy gets a decent charge, but it's not on anyone super valuable as Aurora continues to go through the rotations. This bunny rabbit got a Glock, and she's willing to shoot a few more people's rookie. Tries to throw down some overloads, but unfortunately for him, his capacitors are empty.
4.5k damage fire from the bunny with a Glock. BLG, they're not the ones throwing at the Atacon. I think it's IG. 5 for none. That was where they really could have looked to turn the game, take a slower front-to-back fight, but Wei gets isolated at the front of the fight. Then the Shy does as well. BLG get to take single target after single target picks and roll into that fight. The Dragons just spawned as well. They can take that afterwards. Huge fight from BLG.
And I seem to recall BLG throwing at this point in a lot of games. What's this? This looks quite clean to me.
Oh my god, don't tell me it's the jungle honeymoon buff. It can't be. They tried this with Baytron before and it didn't work for MSI. Like, the thing with changing junglers like Baytron in for Shadow and the like is that it's not necessarily about the individual, it's about whatever the hell they've learned with that player and the synergy between team and jungler. As we said, changing a jungler is open heart surgery for a team. BLG, they've put themselves under the anesthetic again. I suppose it's wearing off and they're hoping that it's better than the last God knows how many times they've done it this year. Beichuan, when he did swap in last series, they did look more coordinated as the series went on. Right here around that Atacon, perhaps that's not something we would have done before, but it's only a series of 2 in. Beichuan will take that dragon. Of course, facing up against one of the junglers that started this whole chain of events. Way on the other side for IG. Just picked from the team and he's found a really good home in IG. If he could take the series here, that would be a real crowning achievement for his career over BLG, saying, actually, you know, you made the wrong choice, BLG. First game, BLG getting the better of him right now.
Holy moly. We saw some numbers on the side of the screen there. Knight is 100% kill participation and 40% of the team's damage.
Oh boy, well, that Aurora gonna do some bits. Red buff, stolen. IG, what can they do now? 6k down at a fairly early point in the game, you consider it. You know, we're into mid going into late game now. Realistically for me, late game is when you have Soul really on the table. I think once you get to around 4th, 5th dragon, that's where it starts coming into play, and of course we're getting to that sort of time now. That Aurora with 3 items plus the pen boots as well from the feed to strength. Yeah, Knight will one-shot anyone, and IG, they're trying to wait until the point where their front line is so strong that they can start taking fights a little slower and buy some time for Rookie and Gala to get damage down, even if they're not necessarily quote-unquote hyper carries in the way that, say, an Aphelios or sometimes a Kai'Sa can be. But this Aurora changes the equation. There's a Medjai's at 10 stacks into Knight. Knight is the difference maker.
He's going to be such a problem. If they can pop him, again, there's no defensive tools in there outside of a good use of his abilities, right? There's no Zhonya's, there's nothing like that. So he can still die. His gold has bought him damage. It has not bought him survivability, and if you can just blow up the Aurora, and you have got a lot of pick tools from IG, then maybe that evens up the equation, considering he's literally 4,000 of the 6 or so thousand gold lead. He would literally remove 2/3 of the gold lead with that one pick.
That's what IG have to be thinking about. Now, they are a team which is late game savvy. They have a bunch of experience between them, and IG are a team which has so much success with...
Oh my god! Oh, he flashes out between one. Hang on! No! Knight! He's dead! They do finally kill off Gala, but they blew up the body way trying to survive. Does go down. All the while, you got to remember there's a secondary carry, and their name is Elk. The horns come up, the antlers go charging, and Elk will avenge his mid laner. Woodland creatures defend one another.
BLG realized, right, this is the fight we want to take. Knight goes down, but he starts the fight. Did he want to die? No, but he knows that his team's got him it. Backed up this time. Towers will fall. IG lose 4 in the play.
Right back towards Baron that has spawned. A little bold here. The health bars aren't fantastic. There's a teleport on Rookie. There's a Realm Warp to work with. Ability potentially to contest faster than they might think, but I think they'll have enough damage here nonetheless for BLG to at the very least start.
I suppose still down for 10 seconds. Can Wei get there in time with the... I mean, he doesn't have flash. He won't be able to get into the pit. BLG get themselves a fight in the mid lane. Is it the cleanest? No, but Knight, I still think, made the right choice to go for that play. After you saw the amount of damage, you can understand why he goes for this. I guess the shotgun onto 2 members there. Oh, God, disgusting. Mako, good CC play afterwards. Rookie guns him down, but the fight is the correct one. Gets all of the HP out of the Corki, gets all of the mobility as well, and the team can clean up.
Exactly. Again, for all that Knight is the ace in the hole this game, unfortunately they've got a few other cards up their sleeves. The Forge God doesn't really end up getting all that much value, unfortunately, because the CC chain comes on through. We come back to live. The Baron's been secured. The shove can continue here as BLG. Some of the woes from the last series, they're playing well so far in game 1. Game 1, Andy, but Wei is certainly hoping that's exactly what this is because he's not having fun.
Credit to him as well, Beichuan. He's been part of the background, I suppose, with BLG, but he's been a good part of it. 2-2 and 14, high kill participation for him as well, and I wonder whether BLG just pushed for the end here. They have the Aurora ultimate.
Hook lands, death charge on top of Knight. They know the target is actually really good damage back. They've blown up 2. This isn't bad. Nymaera's got their face in their hands, and I do not blame them. Another hook, another angle. Knight's still very scary as he lands a winning between worlds. Stories of BLG's demise might have been a little premature as they just turn it around. They lose the front line, but the damage, it turns out, is still alive.
At the end of days, there is one player making the difference, and that is Knight. The Armored Warrior takes the game for himself. IG, the head rolls off the shoulders. Knight makes the difference.
Saved the series. And JDG, the reverse sweep came on through to the Rift. We go for game 2. BLG 1-0 up. Beichuan on Kiana. Well, 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 we had some gyro wars. People gyroing over each other. Some feeling in the crowd today.
It was always going to happen in this matchup. Always going to happen in this one. Knight spots Rookie and Mako. Probably does need to think about safely there. Q will land just onto Rookie. Quick disengage. Wave walk towards Beichuan. Level 1. Ooh, actually it's a Q start from Beichuan. He's actually that, not the W. Sometimes we do see W start for single target. Worth noting. The base damage has increased quite a lot. Did get the electrocute at the level 1. Ward onto the Raptors. Beichuan should know... Yeah, he knows this is here, obviously. So what's Beichuan going to do now? The Shy, if he walks in and messes with the clear, could be really, really problematic for him. Not going to do that, though. Wouldn't be able to do that and get back to lane in time. Beichuan starting on the red buff.
Push control right now is BLG's. Mako off to the side again. I've got double range here. Could theoretically be quite annoying. Starting with the headbutt, we've seen a lot of Alistairs start doing that to try and force people off the wave. Yes, Alistairs level 1 is not fantastic, but you can be just annoying enough.
It's the only quote-unquote ranged ability you have, where you can click on someone beyond your auto-attack range.
Leave the wave!
Like, legitimately, this is like a, hey, this is, I'm using my headbutt like a ranged auto-attack, basically. A little bit of trading. You see there, though, that the Bard being able to slow you back into the play, and of course the Zygon to stack up stuff like the Conqueror too. You don't win extended trades, and for this, that's going to be a Ghost even popped by Gala, trying to force even more of a good trade for them. We saw this in last game. Gala and Mako did quite well, actually, at in the early lane. Levels 2. Actually, yes, I seem to remember actually On and Elk got the best of that. Beitron, of course, started very low HP because Wei took a bit of a chunk out of him. Was spotted on that Raptor camp, but decides, look, I just got to do this anyway. He's been fully tracked on his clear, but I think his logic is, I just got to do this anyway.
Wukong's looking for a potential invade. There's a water spot it out. Kiana may need to just go to Romp after this. We'll know that this is happening. Needs to be a bit wary. He's going to realize this is down, as I think we're going to get a ring around the rosies here.
Perhaps. Beitron has the Grass Blade now. Wei really looking into this bot side. Has bot. Oh my god, Beitron. What's he got out of here? He's got the.
Oh, Rookie! He's got the ice. Picked up the water. Rookie needs to flash. Can look potentially for some audacity. Won't find it. Beitron just realizing, look, I can't defend this jungle. I'm going to have to give up 2 camps.
The early chunk onto him and the winning bot lane really puts Beitron into trouble here. The Wukong will beat you at the level 3 and before you have any items in. Blue buff is stolen. Beitron, well, what's the plan now? He doesn't feel like he can go towards this Gromp. It's not his fault. It's the fact that bot lane also lost in the way that they did, and he was chunked at the level 1. Wei is on vision now, so at least Beitron knows he'll be having some advanced warning if he goes towards this Gromp.
So it's going to be known. Should be able to just smite this, or just hopefully take it. He is going to smite it early and then look to try and rush to that other Skull Crab. So in the end, we'd only down the 1 camp. Did get the flash off Rookie for it, so it's not like he doesn't get anything there. Disaster somewhat averted.
We'll see if there's any kind of bounce back for Beitron in terms of the farm. He can get himself the top scuttle, it looks like. Wukong not going towards that. Way good early pass from him, in fairness, saying, look, okay, I can chunk out Beitron. I can use this winning bot lane to go in as well, because we saw it. Oh, wow. Woe is me, Beitron on the other side. Hey, wait, really good early pass to make sure he can get himself that camp up and the camp steal away. Keeping the Kiana down is very important.
I think this is really smart from Beitron because it took so long. Some of these camp respawns are going to come through shortly, and I wonder whether Beitron can stick around for the Gromp respawn. I'm going to side against it.
Yeah, wait, he did start on Grump. The Shy puts a ward over. Yeah, Beitron just making sure that he's in the enemy jungle, can get a camp respawn. He's warded out here, but the Shy is pushed in. Can Wei get up here in time to contest?
He's left his red buff to try and make this happen. I don't think he's going to be there in time. He's going to be too slow.
Yeah, his smite comes through. Beitron will take the Gromp and get out. So he doesn't want anything more than that. So actually, camp steal for camp steal. I think that's even on that front.
And Wei's camp's now doing really weird timers. I'm going to put that out there because Wukong's now left his red buff to get his wolves. Could probably pick up, I guess, actually won't be able to pick up raptors and stuff because he took them super late. So I actually think in the end, as Beitron's going to be able to go get his Krugs after, he's going to be quite pleased with this.
First resets of the game coming through across the board. Hold for both AD carries. Sometimes we do see a discrepancy between that, depending on how much fighting strength you want in the early game. Both these AD carries know that actually they got to do a lot of stunts on their own later on, so best get to a good point of power to do that from. Less about the early skirmishing, more about, okay, you get the late game, you use that ult to protect yourself. Friendly AD carry. Support's on the roam now too.
Alright. Hello, British Pirates. Welcome to the community. You've been press ganged in. I suppose a little ironically considering you're in by probably by Mecha Fanboy.
That would
the most incredible
very likely.
200 sub bomb. You're not allowed to leave now, I'm afraid. You're here forever.
Yeah, you have been, commandeered for the cause.
Commandeered, yeah, exactly.
Right, gets stunned by the Annie.
You're being commandeered for the cause. Might be being commandeered for the cause of IG's bank account stunned up, and that's the first ult of the game interrupted. Knight flashes, phase rush, heal from On after his own flash.
Knight, his ult is cancelled. An important win there for IG, but they don't get the kill because he gets the 3-hit combo to activate the phase rush and get out safely. This time, Rookie getting a little better of the early game than Knight. Of course, Knight solo killed Rookie for first blood in that last game. On roaming over with the heal, also crucial to that play. Can On stop the recall? He can actually. Important to him. Does he die for it?
Just about on the right side of that minion there, but Beitron gonna take an opportunity to go down bot. That's a lot of damage. Carl is in danger. Can throw out some feathers. Doesn't get a root. Actually, he does. I thought he wasn't gonna get it. The flash is required. Gets out to safety. Mid lane. Rookie now in danger. Gets headbutted out of the dark procession. There's a magical journey he can't get into, and Rookie goes down.
Both teams swing at mid lane, and it's BLG that get the better result. First kill to the Galio, we were just saying, was, getting a little bit the worst of this early game. It's Knight. BLG have evolved into a team which plays much more towards this mid laner than they did in the past. And it's paying dividends for them. And Knight can carry in the way that he did in that last game. Been walking towards this top lane, taking a good trade against the Shine. Might be able to force a flash here.
He's got steel caps here. Will try to auto his way through that. Gets the Repudiate down. The main Maiden still sucking away. The Shy gets that Sundering Slam. He's going to try and take out the Maiden here a little bit, I think. We'll At 300 odd HP, doing the trade relatively aggressively here. He's got to be a bit wary. He really wants his maiden down.
Does, whereas Bin would really like to get the Q onto him. I wonder whether Bin, his maiden micro, could have been a little better there. Walk back, I suppose the Shy might have just one-shot it with his regular combo. Say one-shot would have been. From that HP, it's technically not a one-shot though, because it would have been under half HP. Anyway, would have killed it with his combo. Then evens up the levels he was down just before he went into that lane. Beatron used that flash, trading for Gala before. I will say both the Kiana and the Xayah flash, both very important. Level 6 on both junglers here.
Shy forward side of the Dark Possession again without the maiden. Perhaps not a scary Beatron around, as you noted, alongside Wave. Flash, Nimbus Strike, Cyclone, Bin. He's got a flash, maybe forced to burn it, and does so. Mako now coming. Get the flash off for Yorick.
Beatron now seeing that there's no Cyclone. Maybe he thinks there's an angle to be played here. He doesn't have the flash. I was a little bit worried that Bin would just die there with Beatron not really able to introduce himself into that play. On Elk, both on the roam, there is a Kai'Sa ult if anything spooky happens too now too. Keep that in mind.
In the river as well, reminder how Supreme Display of Talent works. You get stunned in the river regardless, even if you don't take the damage from being knocked into the wall. It can be quite obnoxious indeed. While, of course, with Wave burning the Flash, burning the Cyclone, Beatron's going to get these grubs here, which should be pretty valuable here for BLG with the Yorick. Now, even with things like the Kai'Sa and the Galio, your Globals and ability to threaten those turrets can be pretty strong. The Shy getting a good trade there onto Knight.
Worth noting that Knight's also... Hang on, there might be a magical journey through the wall.
And look for the angle. Knight is likely dead. Yeah, overstays it. Had Beatron around. Wants to get the Supreme Display of Talent. Doesn't even need it. Just looks for the empowered auto. Could theoretically chunk Mako out here, but we'll decide, look, the 1-for-1 is fine.
Yeah, not well tracking. Not done a great job tracking that Bard. Hard to do so with the magical journey. Beatron gets himself first kill of the game, though, and we were saying, look, this is an important game for Beatron. He was benched earlier in the year, hadn't played for 2 months. The performances at MSI and were really not what BLG wanted. He's back. He's playing Kiana, a champion which he was nowhere near touching earlier in the year because he was the supportive jungler. He was the guy that was starting the fights. Now he's the carry. If he gets himself gold, performs well on this, perhaps that changes the equation of BLG.
Right, check what Beatron builds were, because I've seen 3 Kiana games and all 3 have been different builds. Kanavi the other day went for Profane Hydra into Axiom Arc.
Tien did that as well.
Yeah, Tien also did a Sundered Sky build. And we've also seen the Eclipse into Opportunity kind of vibes as well.
Occasionally you can also see some Hubris as well.
Yeah.
So, and I will say as well, there are also Death Stance Kiana builds, which I think Death Stance is a hugely underrated item. By the way, we did see Rookie stop the recall with his ult just before that onto, was that onto Bin? I think he was onto Bin just before that, so BLG a little bit behind the map, which means that he's not quite in time to stop this wave crash coming through. BLG, their slapback is teleporting up.
I've got Beatron here, who's still got a Supreme Display of Talent. The Shy needs to be very wary about walking too close to a wall, and he's caught inside a Dark Procession, so Supreme Display of Talent could have been very dangerous there. It doesn't seem like it's going to be needed, and Bin's just donated it.
Easy as you like. IG think they're a wave ahead on the swap, but Knight teleports up to make the kill happen. That does give Rookie alone time on the bot turret, but there's a Yorick with 3 Groves, which were freely taken earlier, on this top side. If they can clear out the wave quickly, and Galio will help do that, this is probably going to be 2 plates down in this top side, even with Mako running over.
Maybe able to drop a Tempered Fate here might be an idea. We'll use that to keep some things safe. Teleport's coming on forward to this. Gets dicey because there's 4 people around. A reminder, make that 5. Elk's here as well. Mako gets a stun. Supreme Display of Talent. Whoa! Everyone's golden. Everyone's a winner here. In comes the hero's entrance. I think it's looking like the Avengers assembling. How many people on one screen under one turret do you need? Mako gets on a magical journey, but I don't know how magical it really is. Lands a Cosmic Binding. Beatron in the river, healed. Goes looking for an audacious charge, on surviving. Way looks for a Cyclone, Beatron low, but not down. Lands a Water Blade, courtesy of a Terror Shape, and an Ixtal's impact. Edge of Ixtal. Skarner's not in this game.
How do you get so golden? Cap, that's my secret. I'm always golden. There's like 5 people which turn like Midas has touched them himself. Tower will go down. BLG, a huge play on the top side. And this is the kind of magic we used to know from BLG. Perhaps in this playoffs we can see it again. We have been wondering the whole year, could BLG somehow revive? Maybe they're just sandbagging until Worlds and the qualification for it. BLG, in this play here, they're just a little bit ahead. They teleported up to kill the Shy before. Double teleports coming from both solo laners now of IG. And it really, really is just the end of them. The Bard ult is insane. It is a 6-man ultimate. 2 of his teammates 4 of the enemy, but all it does is set up for a magnificent Galio and on-tanks the turret with his ultimate. They have so much firepower to bring to the play. They break all 5 members, and yes, Gala is hitting the mid lane turret while this is happening, but it is a huge win for BLG.
Benchman gets the flash off Mako, and then despite an attempted play from Way with Mako flashing out, the Wukong then is left out to dry, caught within a dark procession, and that parade is there. Send it to My Chemical Romance concerts.
The Shy going to use that Demolish to take down a plate on the top side. I did appreciate the reference. So he gets himself another plate. They're huge lead. Hang on a second.
Across the other side of the magical journey, and he's gone! Profane Hydra, by the way. Heretical Cleave. In goes Elk solo, killing the Shy potentially. Needs another couple autos here for the passive prod. Gets another Icathian Rain. And you know what they say when it rains? It damn well pours. The public execution is unfortunately only Ambessa's head.
A 4th death for the Shy as Elk goes in with the ultimate and becomes the sideline assassin that this champion really debuted as back in 2018. IG, of course, they've got an AD carry who knows that champion very, very well. He was there. He won that. He was winning tournaments with that champion. Of course, Uzi Woods won it back in 2018. This guy is his successor, is Gala. Oh, not to be left out of our pantheon of AD carries, though. Here, Shy just caught a little bit too long. 2 times now in top lane. He's been really trying to get as much out of that top lane turret as possible. BLG have defended it by hook and by croak. This time it's just one Kai'Sa. That's exactly what they need.
Barrier in the end burned as well, but it's still going to be a death for the Shy. And Alex, I think I figured it out.
Yep.
I know what BLG are doing. It's not the honeymoon. They're playing with us. We've been getting the wrong genre. It's a love triangle, Alex.
Oh
That's
my God,
how they're getting away with it.
No.
They've got Beidwan and Shadow.
No, they have.
And every season they just need to change it around as the new episodes come on forward.
BLG aren't a honeymoon. They're a soap opera.
Yeah.
You can decide on the genre. Is it enemies to lovers or lovers to enemies? It's one of them. BLG using the power of soap opera to get themselves their power.
Who's Edward? Who's Jacob?
That's a great question, Sam. I am not delving into that one. Suddenly there's this like really like grey, blue, green filter across the entire scene.
Yeah.
What was the song in the twilight? That's got to be it.
They did Decode was one of them.
Yeah.
You
know, funnily enough, there's the actor who played like the like baby Renesmee or whatever the name is, who's now obviously a grown-up, and they're like telling behind-the-scenes stories of the Twilight movies on TikTok. Go find them out.
That sounds excellent.
They're also called Taylor, which is, you know, similar
Little,
to,
yeah,
so they're Little Taylor, whereas Taylor Lautner was Big Taylor.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we've now delved into the true reason why BLG are perhaps we're so back or it's so over. We can it's a love triangle. There you go.
I now wonder whether does the Medjay sparkle in the sunlight? Being the vampiric item it is.
It always does in my eyes, Sam. It always does in my eyes. Love me some Medjays. BLG with a huge lead, 5,000. Now, typically, we would be holding reservations at this point in the game, saying, BLG, they have failed to capitalize on these leads. Their late game is bad. Last game, we saw that, yes, while there are still some hiccups there or about, they have, you know, more power apparently. They did throughout a lot of the regular season. They're very far up now. Do have base running crazy items. Elk might find himself Mako.
It's Elk, of course. He's looking for it. It's not a long and a magical journey. I appreciate it was a panic one, but Mako's still gonna have to burn the flash.
So tool down, summoner taken, and support off the board, which means that vision control is gonna be harder to achieve and capitalize on. Coming up to this dragon coming up.
Worth noting, second item did get done for base run. It is the Profane Hydra into Axiom art build we were talking about. All the ults, all the time.
Yeah. If you get about 3 as kill participation in a fight, your ult is effectively back up. That's what we saw from Tian the other day. He got a huge ultimate. 3 people died, and then his ult was on 15 seconds after that. So there is a world where you get one fight with an ult, and you have a fight immediately after with an ult after that. So Axiom has been given a lot of stats to it. A lot of stats. It was buffed, I think, recently, as was the Profane Hydra. Both of them very powerful.
Eating good. The Shy is about to get a lot of members turning into flame from both sides. Really wants this turret. Is going to potentially die for it. Secures that turret. Public execution goes wide. Has been sidestepped it. In comes Knight. Shorter Duran comes on forward, so the Shy will be traded. But at least they get the turret.
They've been trying a lot for it. That's 3 deaths. Way might die here too. Realizes he's far behind enemy lines. And Monkey see, Monkey don't.
Turns out the IG tried to send some members up there, and BLG just sent what might cost them the mid lane tier 1. TP behind, though, and they're going to continue trying to punish. Gala will get that turret, trying to run towards the wrong side of the map, though. He's got a Ghost running to some end. I think he's going to try and execute here and take a wave with him.
I think he'll try to. Bin could flash for a morning miss. Flash away from it. It's not a miss, it's a dodge. We'll be nice. It was a flash away. Come on.
That's actually very fair.
It's like, oh, he missed it. My dude, he blew a summoner with it. Come on, that's a little...
Let me did the skill shot here, Alex?
No, Sam, but there is a difference between a miss and a dodge. If it is reasonably expected to hit, you'd think, okay, that is a miss. If someone uses something important to do so, I'm going to call that a dodge.
You're not a winner, you're a loser. That's the life we live by.
Oh, it's something famous that our cousin said.
It's
like, that's right. You're the winner. Okay, but if I'm the winner, what does that make you? I'm the loser. Yes, you're the loser. That cousin James out there somewhere.
Well, the Shy got the turret. Can't public execute, and then Wei and Mako go, yeah, nah, I'm out. Except Wei is not out, and neither is the Shy.
Dude, the Shy has just been death pushing this tower for so much of this game. This is what his third death, realistically, pushing this turret.
Yeah.
The other time he's teleported up towards the turret, but we'll call that not really involved in the actual push of the tower. So 2 dragons now taken, 1 apiece. 5,000 gold lead for BLG, a little below that. 3 grubs to them, feats of strength. What do IG play for now? Because they don't, I wouldn't say, have a massive scaling threat in this game. You have the Yorick on the other side, who beats you in side lanes. I think the Yorick removes a lot of your power from the Addy, sadly, as well. And the Xayah versus Kai'Sa, I think, is a bit of a wash. Perhaps the Xayah outscales in the hyper late game, because the Kai'Sa gets so much harder to thread the needle. So IG are not playing for an obvious scaling threat. BLG are ahead. How do IG come back into this? Are you really just hoping for another Atakan throw?
Maybe that's the angle. You're down 4,500 gold, and the gold is in some very scary locations. 2,500 gold up on a Qiyana should scare you. Saw the other day, Kanavi got 4,000 to 5,000 gold ahead, and Rookie is just about to experience it. Oh my days, that flash was necessary.
And it was. The stun lands onto Beichuan. Almost a very clean kill. The Qiyana when they're ahead of the game is disgusting. I mean, you forget, guys, China is the region of Qiyana. Yeah. Like, the Super Server has all of the crazy Qiyana players teleport up towards the top side. They really want the Atakan setup. They don't find anyone around this. If they'd managed to find a pick, they could have gone straight in towards the Atakan. They might still go to it anyway. Pushing towards the mid lane. Temper Fate will stop the Herald charge. Do IG just go for the Atakan and Sword? They do. They know they need this. They're falling behind the game. They must go for this big objective.
Welcome to Invictus Gaming's Burger Shacks. What can I get you? Well, I'll have a flip, please.
And we'll see exactly which side it lands up on. BLG, they push in towards mid lane. They do get that turret. Is there going to be a smite contest? No. So it's a clean take from IG. Do they get out?
On, flash for the headbutt, pulverize on 3. Public execution to buffer through the hero's entrance. Mako on the other side, though, is introduced to a lot of very sharp blades of grass. Beichuan just about dodging away from the cyclone. Gala gets a good feather pull back, and IG actually retreating in good order. Beichuan able to go over the wall. 8 seconds on his ult. Can he buy time? Can BLG get an angle? Beichuan looking to go over the wall. Where is that super
ults in 3 seconds
of talent? Does he want to push for it? Doesn't look like it as yet. Still hunting on that flank angle, but I think it peters out. IG not bad.
They get themselves the Atakan. They lose 1 for the attempt. There's no big objective up right now. There's 30 seconds until the Dragons, so the trade is 2 mid lane turrets and a kill for a kill and Atakan. So only the 1 for 1 in the great grand scheme of things. On did die there, and the kill went over towards Garlic, so he's not unhappy with that one. The amount of XP, the amount of adaptive force you get from Atakan is pretty damn good. They went up to about 30 pathings or so. It's a good haul for them. See what On is thinking, just force the fight. You have to. They're clumped up. They've used a lot of their skills killing the Atakan. Surely you can make a big play out of this. Garlic gets a good feather pullback. Great triple stun from Rookie there too. Seals the deal onto that kill onto the Alistair.
Elk did have to burn both summoners to get that kill, by the way, so theoretically vulnerable here, and there is a lot of pick from IG still. It's not really been about them this game. It's been about BLG again. It's something of a surprise considering how they looked the other series, but here comes that Dragon start. BLG looking to claim their second.
It looks like there's no contest as well. It's see a chat in YouTube chat about is it Beichuan or Beifong? Beifong, I believe, is the Qiyana guy in China. Yeah, if you just like remove like the second syllable of Beichuan's name and just replace it with Fong, yeah, maybe that's the signs that we had all along. Someone else saying, I didn't expect Qiyana in 2025. We're seeing a lot more of it crop up in LPL now, especially once we've got the first string of AD skirmishes down, sometimes we see a little bit more room for the Qiyana to come through. Don't necessarily want to play the Qiyana to say something like a Shinzao, who just jumps at you and kills you very early into the game. But as we're seeing into the Wukong, just about managed to survive. And now look at the farm difference. It's like a 70 farm difference between Wei and Beichuan. And the level difference, even with the Atakan involved, is still 3 to Beichuan.
And the thing is, yes, the Shinzao sucks, but I think we're seeing some teams draft for it as a first game option. I'm not joking. We saw Top Esports draft first pick Qiyana basically in game 1. Jesus. Like, it was very, it wasn't if it was first pick quite, it was like, I need first pick into Qiyana Blue 2. Like, it was very aggressively being prioritized by some teams.
Shai will take the spot lane turrets, so a little bit more gold from IG there. Knight pushing on the top side of the map. 6,000 gold lead to BLG. Damage from Beichuan. Owie.
Got an edge of Knight now as well. Yeah, this is the Kanavi build. We saw it the other day. It was just the first one I saw playing it, is the honest answer. But either way, this particular style of let me get upfront burst lethality and as much ability hits for my ults possible.
So this is not a Conqueror Qiyana build where you're going towards the extended fights. It is the utter one-shot. And there's not many people in IG that can do much about that. If you get caught in the duration of the ult knock-up in the CC, you're probably dying in it as anyone that's not... Suppose the Ambassador? Question mark? I'm not sure. I think they died too. I think everyone at IG is now an assassinatable threat. Probably going to dodge out on that W. I won't kill that one, though. Sidestepping on Beichuan. Was caught by the feather pullback there. Slight worry. BLG pushing in towards bot lane.
IG have got the Shy in a potentially risky location as on-wall flash over the wall with the Hex variety of it. Tier 2 now to teach. The Dark Procession comes on down on once again. When he was a young man, there was something about joining a procession or a flotilla. Maybe something about a woman named Helena.
What?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Oh, is it the Mike Alcaraz?
Yeah, it is,
again?
yeah.
Okay, right. See, that was the emo band I didn't really listen to. So a lot of the other ones, that was the one which I didn't really get to listening to as much.
Look, that's just not okay, Alex.
Shut up. No, I knew that. I know that one. I know that one, Sam. Shut up.
Well, I've been disenchanted with your lack of references.
Hang on. Text flashing forwards again there.
He goes. Knight on a flank angle. Continuing to get Audacious Knight has once again picked up a mech.
Wait, hang on. Was that the Hex Flash or the real Flash? I thought I saw the Flash angle. I thought... Wait. Did he think he was using Hex Flash and used the real Flash?
I think he might have.
Because I saw the icon... Okay. Right. Wait, what? Classic LPL boring match. Did you see the top lane dive earlier? Also, do you know classic LPL? You okay there, buddy?
Yeah, look, there's LPL and there's VCS. Like, there is a slight discrepancy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd sit here and watch LPL any day of the week.
Oh, yes.
Good stuff.
Worth noting as well, people wondering why Qiyana's come back. The biggest thing is her W at level 1 got an insane attack speed buff. It used to be that W with an element being held, that's your Terra shape, would give you 5% attack speed at level 1. It's now 15% and still scales with that in mind, basically. So you go up to 15 to 20 and so on. And it means your first clear in the jungle with her additional damage to monsters is something like 304. Once you start getting something like a Profane Hydra or that first item, your War AD means you just destroy camps.
And you have the AoE clear after that point. So you have the cleave, which makes it so easy to get through any kind of AoE. Makes your combos much more fun too. Qiyana always was a Tiamat user. Knight has Riftmaker now. He's going towards the higher AP build. Should have mentioned that a little earlier. But hey, it means that his damage is going to be significant on there too. Minute till Dragon. IG have just said, look, we're not fighting. They are now down though, because they're not fighting, an awful lot.
This is my second time of seeing Qiyana get a 4 level advantage over an enemy jungler. Last time it was Jarvan, this time it's Wukong. Wait is down 4 levels despite having Atakan.
BLG, huge chokehold on this game. The only thing which is stopping IG and BLG now is their own throwing. But they're going to go toward that Baron. Good ward there from IG. It's not as a standard spot, which means it's not likely to get cleared. They spot this going down very low HP. Wade does have a Blast Cone, but I think Alison's going to body block him.
Next flash into the headbutt. Clone will buy some time. Blast Cone over and the Baron just disappears. Gala on that Kai'Sa. Help on that Kai'Sa. Oh my days, I'm still baited all the while. IG might not be though as they look to go on top of Beichuan. Supremely displays his talent though. And now Bin goes on forward, beginning to give Shy some last rites. The public execution goes wide. IG try to flash away. In goes Elf with the killer instinct onto Gala. Shows exactly who else can pilot this champion rookie. About to go down, looking all too rookie to the side of BLG indeed. No veterans to be found. Despite their years of play, they are looking humbled in this game.
BLG so often fall apart at this area of the game, but perhaps not now. Playoffs as a way of awakening our old gods here in the LPL, and BLG, after a poor year by their standards, look like they're starting to get things together. First series versus JDG, needed to reverse sweep, subbed in Beichuan, and perhaps the honeymoon will be renewed. BLG take game 2.
All they needed was a love triangle, change the genre and come up with different results. Beichuan on a carry. Every time you count them out, they just come back and smack you in the face, huh? Potentially for the last time today, let's hear those gyros.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
No early plays as yet.
Hello, how's it going, folks? I'm back. I have to do paperwork. Ain't that a better way to spend my day than watching LPL? Of course not. I'll always be rather watching LPL. Yes. So, all right, I haven't seen the drafts yet, so Sam, I'd like you to give your thoughts on it while I quickly catch up.
So they ban away a lot of the BLG specialties to first pick the Azir, banning away the Ziggs in particular, which Knight has used the counter pick into it, but it gives up a very early Pantheon, and I think with them Misfortuned as well, and then locked in the Talia thirds. They get themselves a Rel and a Gwen. On the other side, IG just go for what Top Esports tried yesterday effectively with the full CC front to back, Bruiser, Brawler, ICC one person into ungodly amounts of stun.
Yeah, and you know what? LPL as a region hasn't always gone for the tanky front to back. It's not been necessarily something that LPL has always gone for. We've seen a lot more of that from our top teams, I think, in this last split. We've seen Top Esports try a lot of it. Of course, WWE really popularized it too in their own run. Of course, didn't make it through the playoffs, but, you know, yeah. And I do think IG, particularly with the Shy, being very good on tanks this split. 3 and 2 on the pick, actually. It's a lot of value out of it. BLG, the onus is on them to make it not into a front to back. Flash is trading a bot.
Oh yes, and the heal spell. So you saw heal from On to try and get the speed up to get the better crash down. The speed up from Mako with the heal to get Agala out of it. Then the re-engage with the flash and the flash out. Nice back and forth there, two of our more aggressive playmaking supports in the league to put it. Well,
and I have to say, you know, I think actually our supports in AD carries, they've actually had a pretty even time of it in the first two games, even though BLG have been, you know, very, very strong in skirmishing through the map. I think on the whole, in terms of individual player differences, I feel like Knight has been the real standout. Knight has been destroying Rookie in the 1v1 sense, which, you know, after the split that Rookie's had, how cruel would it be for him to be on the making world again? Potential MVP split, of course,
yeah,
lost out on that for Jacula. Only for BLG to stand in the way and sweep them at this point, perhaps just topple the house of cards.
Oh yeah, it will be just the way it always goes, huh? However good IG look, there's always something that pulls them apart at the very worst possible moment. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Game 2 was as much of a capitulation.
From in there, Grove W placement. Right up in the face of the Shy. Ooh, 3v2 in bot side now.
Mako with the battle dance out, and cleanses popped, but in the end actually relatively well managed there from IG. Way will get a hold of the Scuttle Crab as a result. Might actually get a double Scuttle off it, so could well be worth that cleanse.
And I really do just want to highlight a comment which happened in our Twitch chat just now. I know we're streaming in multiple places, but not in that chat. The series, yes, but Rookie has been a top 2 mid laner during the regular season. Knight just happens to be the top 1. That is the nature of playing mid lane in LPL.
Yeah.
Knight has been such a force of nature, in the same way that Chovy has been in the LCK2, particularly during regular season and particularly in a regional sense. Internationally, things get a little bit different now. Mako, yeah, that was safely hit, question mark. Yeah, but like, Rookie has had a fantastic split. I think he's been so pivotal to IG. Knight just happened.
Oh dear, that was an unfortunate timing. Again, I remember at the beginning of the year when we were talking about how rough this matchup was. Knight can look for another solo. Rookie! Oh, good God!
As we were saying, Rookie might be a top 2 mid laner in the region. Knight just happens to be the best.
We said that the Azir into Taliyah matchup at the beginning of the year was looking awful. It got better. People were happier to play it and manage it, but there is always something about the fact you stun yourself when you try to shuffle to safety that Taliyah's can punish.
It is just not fair playing against Knight. You know, I know that Rookie's been making his own mistakes. A lot of people are going to dunk on Rookie, and understandably so. That's a solo kill, which is very avoidable. Had the flash up, gets hit by the shove. He's on half HP. You just got to flash it. Then he realizes the danger that he's in. Tries to shuffle out, and then he's down cooldowns and still takes the damage anyway. And Knight realizes, well, I've just had to hit the big rock there. I haven't taken aggro. All it would take is a couple of rocks and an auto. Does have to use the flash, but he gets out with a solo kill.
Game 1 started with Knight getting a solo kill. Game 3, he's bookending the series with another Knight now topside. Has got himself needles to work with as I conflate the two solo lanes because it's another solo kill.
Bin solo killing top lane. The Shy on the Scion. Typically so good at this pick, but BLG solo lane domination in this game. BLG could just sweep through IG after having to reverse sweep their first round. Switching in Beige One. Perhaps the love triangle, perhaps the soap opera drama of BLG and their jungle starting spot has given them something to leverage off of. But the individual form of BLG has been up and down and up again, and right here, you could just see them through to a very clean series victory. What happens if Bin just gets himself the level 6 off the play? The Shy going for a harder play? I suppose Bin just hits level 6 a little early. What happens? How many minions does he have to kill?
Is it just one? Watch it just be the one, and that's it.
Well, I mean, you have the HP advantage. I guess he's waiting for his W cooldown, got a stack Q. And then just ends up getting 2 queens, 3. How close was he? I mean, this is why the Shy takes the trade. I think he realizes actually, that's the whole way. He needed the whole way to get level 6, and the Shy just misjudging that. Then gets the full stacks up, hits the needlework, and realizes that's a kill.
Moves one into mid lane, got on flashes over Mako to get the mount up. And now Rookie's in danger, surviving for a little while. Doesn't get as much like work as he'd like done. Looks like there's an Emperor's Divide used at some point there as well. And ends up being BLG punishing in the mid lane.
Oh, and another flick back.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
That's out. Beige One flashes for the shield vault. Will likely die. Gets a bit of triumph feeling. But the upheaval turns it around. That's 2 for 1 in the end. On now. Potentially in danger, but gets to mount up himself. And should be okay.
BLG steamrolling through the mid lane as Knight Taliyah is just unleashed. Another set of kill participation. It was a flick back onto him to try and start up a play. There was sadly On in a bush behind him though. On the right timing there. Also worth noting in the flick back. Actually got the flick back over the minefield as well. So he got the stun from the Unraveled Earth, I believe, there too. There was a slight bit of displacement. IG, how cruel would it be for them to have the split they've had, finish in top 2 by beating BLG on the last day of competition, to then meet them again in playoffs and get blasted like this? No, you feel like IG are somewhat deserved worlds or something like that. No one is deserved worlds. No one earns that shit for free. BLG are a team which have been slumping realistically the whole year. We know how good this team can be, and despite them having good results, I mean, they reached a finals, right? And even in winter, we thought they were hard done by to be knocked out at the point that they were against top esports, and they're on their way to their own title, top esports. BLG might just be on their recovery arc just in time to dash the hopes and dreams of other teams.
IG now potentially in danger to dig a Grug. Grand Starfall comes on in, but that's going to be a big old chunk into the Impale. A little deep, Beige One. He dies. What about the rest of the play? The bullet time will force double flashes. They get out to safety. 1 for none right now, but the shove back into the mount up, into the shattering strike. Mako just about advancing to safety. Knight gets knocked up by the decimating smash. Now the curtains get called, and maybe IG can look to punish a little. Not that much damage, though, in the inventory of a Steel Cat's Jin.
Realistically, that ult is actually just to stop recalls, because Rookie is on the bot side of the map, pushing in for turret plates on the bot lane out to turret. BLG, they lose 1. The turn back from BLG is pretty good. They will still get themselves the grubs as well, despite the fact that Beige One was off of the table. A little too far from him, as you were saying, but BLG still get themselves the grubs. IG, I suppose, not unhappy to take the kill and the turret plates for the Azir, though.
Way here. Might actually try and smite fight this one. Good luck to do it. It does. That's 2 to IG.
Beige One, perhaps just not seeing him coming around the corner. That is a full level up over way, by the way. Incredible XP difference. Sorry, no, it's the 6, not an 8. I was like, what the hell? Anyway, just behind by into the XP. I was thinking, hang on a second, down an XP. BLG giving IG a little bit more than they would potentially be comfortable with there now. You got Razir getting towards that Nash's Tooth. A couple of grubs in inventory. If he gets some time in side lanes, despite the fact that he's died twice in his mid lane now, perhaps he can pick up the gold he needs to scale up in.
It's a playable game. The gold's right back to even. Early objective take from IG. Can now look to reset around this bot side. On's just face-checking 3 people. On, why are you there by yourself? There's a level 6 on Mako. Could theoretically have pulled the quickness there to really punish On. They're going to keep driving. Quite managed to find an angle now, but there's the quickness into the grand entrance, and On likely will die. Night tries to come and support, gets the heal. Double
not so
shove is
easily.
really good. Knight will help defend the support. Does cost a flash, does cost a heal.
I will say, IG are still even in gold here. Gala has the 4th shot, trading pretty well onto L. Doesn't have his bullet time just yet.
On trying to get full tilt onto Gala, who's quick enough on the retreat with the passive there. Fleet footwork as well, walking across the captive audience, slowed On down. Yeah, little sidestep on the deadly flourish, required dodge.
Dragon is up. IG will take the fact that On is solo HP and look for a play.
Okay, doesn't quite get into the wall. The timing, the gas runs out, but there's the Impale trying to jump on top of the Talia. Over they go. Knight gets out. The shuffle is not that fantastic as the flashes come on down, but Elk is a bit exhausted. Finally gets a bullet time and does stand and deliver well. IG survive it well enough. The Comet's Pit only lands onto Rookie. Baitron's faster though. Dodge away with the grand entrance, and they can't quite get the kills. Baitron now in danger. The curtains are called, and BLG being punished. Needs to dodge Elk so low. 4th shot just wide, but Rookie gets Baitron.
We asked IG to have a better early game plan, and that is exactly what they've done. They find themselves in early game slight lead now. 2 grubs, slight gold lead. Options onto this dragon as Wei ends up respawning. The rock in their shoe is Knight on the Talia, of course. He's still causing issues, but you will notice that Rookie is individually ahead of him now. They try and jump towards that Talia. Do end up getting the Jin W, which opens up this option with the Impale. They still don't kill him cleanly as Rookie goes across, I suppose, the last bit of the Unraveled Earth. It's not as clean as you would have liked, actually. You'd think the bullet time would be enough to turn things around. Things get spooky. Somehow, though, IG get away slightly better from this trade.
Aegis assault as well, and basically Baitron can't go back the way he'd like to. And that curtain call angle is superb. Elk is very, very lucky there. That 4th shot didn't land. It's been a 3 for 1 rather than just a 2 for.
IG have a very good late game comp. We said the onus is on BLG to make sure they can find good angles, to make sure this game is not about a Sion and a Skarner stood in front of their 2 long-range carries. This is the kind of game where Jin doesn't have to worry about his damage output either. There's no hyper tank to stop him from being a real carry, and Gala's been damn good at when he gets ahead on this pick. BLG goes for the dragon. I do wonder whether for the first time this series, IG do feel like they can drag this late safely, especially with how the early game's going right now.
Agreed. Gaming. Dragon. BLG playing for the first time without the early lead this series. In a comfort spot for them. In general, across this year and split. On in the banana bush here with ult. In comes the Weaver's Wall. Way still here, able to potentially fight. Looking to go there. Right through the wall, gets jumped up on the deadly forest seismic shove.
Oh, the CC.
Away. It's going to go down, but it's a good impale for a second or two. They get the knuckle on the base, one needs to flash away. Curtains get called. The time was solid, but now BLG have to retreat as those curtains cause some damage. The most dangerous fabric in the world. Knight gets shuffled back. Rookie! Phenomenal angle. Mako flashes out as Ongo's looking to keep Knight alive, and they end up losing 2.
Neither top laner gets invested in the play, so it's a 4v4. And IG walk away, saving the play again. 2 for 1. Wei goes down, but rather Knight and On are the cost for it. IG, they're playing very well around the extended option, saying, look, midway through the fight, we have this bit of CC which can play around, and that'll make the difference. The initial entrance from BLG is pretty good. Wei is in a threatening spot, but they get so much CC onto him, the threat of the Impale is vastly diminished. He gets it onto one, while Baitron has the E running. It still drags him just far enough away from his team, though. The damage of the Azir and the Jin to really start threatening. Knight goes too far. He really should have backed off. He had no flash there. Despite a great game from him on the Talia so far, that's the kind of mistake that could come back to haunt his team.
Mako was very clutch flash out, and On goes looking for him and doesn't find it. Gala's now got the collector in. Now 1,200 gold in the lead. For Invictus Gaming. 2-0-3 for Gala's Jin, and one of our better Jin players in the league, him and Jackie Love. And she leads actually as well.
Oh, leaves very
the mind.
Yeah, LPL Jin has actually been very successful. Remember that last World Swiss stage, Top East was beat T1 when they had that Jin as well, where I don't think Jackal had to flash the entire game, I think it was.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, somehow.
God, I don't remember it, so I might have to trust in your
Yeah,
encyclopedic knowledge of that one.
Swiss stage, it was one of the first games that T1 played, and they gave us a lot of hopium, Sam, which was dashed quite a lot after that point.
That does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that game was beautiful. I remember Atlas talking about it on LCK Cap recently, because he's a bit of a Jin hater, because he's seen many years of Jin not do damage. Well, occasionally, depending on the meta and itemization, he can start to bring stuff out. Again, Gala will see if he can carry things. 1,000 gold lead to both carries of IG. I think IG have got a great angle in here. BLG must get creative in a safe enough way. That's the hard thing, right? You can be creative, be effective in that suit. Smile.
Whoa, we have 6 HP! Beitron! I mean, Wade will die for it, but he's happy enough with the steal, I think.
Beitron outsmited. He smites first. Wade does it second. Teleport now coming in from the Scion.
No, actually, the curtains get called. Beitron needs to throw out the Age Assault. Mako with the quickness rolling onto the back of the pick. Maybe crash down. Double Shadowing Strike is decent enough, but there will be the trade back and ends up being a 1-for-1 plus the Dragon. Flash Cone was cute, but not really saving on.
Shy had to flash out of his own flank angle.
Ooh, went looking for it. Mako managed to grand entrance away out of vision. Elk, even with the strut running, those high heels were made for walking all over a bird that's no longer there.
Yeah, it has no crits anymore. Well, no, not anymore. Doesn't have any crit built up just yet, so no lucky crit for him. BLG starting to fall apart a little bit in terms of their confident gameplay. The skirmishes that they had in the last few games were very impactful. This one feels like it is much more labored. Ult from Scion.
I think Knight's in danger here. He's got his flash, but he's going to be forced to burn something. The Grand Starfall comes on here.
No flash on the show.
Might now be in a dangerous position. He's pretty damn tanky, but is he that tanky? Over comes Elk, and I think the Shy has taken a 1v1. He can't afford. The only thing is, Herald's on the other side of the map, as is a top tier 1, and he's putting a lot of resources to get down there, so probably ends up being Herald for it.
I think it shall be, but BLG will get some alone time on the bot side of the map before Knight. Is anyone recalling? No, so it's going to be split map. Kill, who ended up picking that up? Or was it Knight that ended up picking that up? I think it was, actually. 3 stacks on the, what was it? Okay, whatever, doesn't matter. Someone picks up the goddamn kill. Shy goes a little too far on that bot side. Beitron gets chunked out and starts to panic a little bit. Oh, that's so close.
6 HP.
45 and then went down to 6, it looked like. So it was actually a little further off than we thought it was in the first place. I was trying to time it, I suppose, with one last auto attack. Not fantastic there. Beitron, of course, being subbed in for Shadow after the first game of last series. Teams looked better playing around Beitron again, and that is the metric at the end of the day that we're interested in. Who's playing better as a team with the jungler in that? This one, though, Beitron, gotta keep an eye on that stuff. Can't afford to be letting objectives go away easily like that.
He with Grubs gets to top tier 1. There's a Herald that was taken immediately, shoved into mid lane. That goes down as well. Feats of strength for the first time this series goes towards Invictus Gaming.
Gold is dead on even. Dead on even. But BLG, they should be in their PowerPoint right now. 1 to 2 items, that's where they start to peak. I think once you start hitting 3, 4, that's when you really start getting worried for BLG. You have a very strong front-to-back composition. You have tanks which don't really care too much about the frontline damage from BLG, necessarily anyway. Now, the Gwen is pretty strong at killing tanks. Misfortune, much less so, compared to almost every other AD carry in the meta. Yes, at the end of the day, a bullet time hurts everyone, but much less than some than others.
I'll say at least the bullet times I've seen from Elk have been pretty cool looking. Killed, crash down into Mako with a lot of work. He gets out? No way! Into the redemption. Mako survives, has to burn his flash, but good work. Deadly Furge onto the Beitron. And Mako goes, yeah, you have to try hard to catch me.
The damage just isn't there, and now I'm looking at it. You know, a lot of the reason why the damage isn't there is because Knight has ended up losing a lot of farm for these plays. He's actually only 130 CS at 18 minutes, and that's a catch onto Elk. No flash.
Boy.
Dead Misfortune. Easy kill for Gala. BLG failed picks and not protecting their own. Elk pushed it way too far for that kind of play.
And the Shy just ulted mid as well. There's no turret to be afraid of top, so they're going to get the Impale onto Beitron and throws down an Aegis. So in comes the Weaver's Wall. They crash out onto Gala. That's pretty good. Rookie looks at the shuttle, but it's flashed away from Knight. Now trying to find a place to get some value back as Wade, potentially looking to drive onto Knight. Mako slides away with that battle dance. They do go 1-for-1 there at the back end of it. Knight takes Gala with Mako with him. Rookie gets good soldier position, but Finn trading well with the Shy. Decimated flash comes on down. The snip's just wide on the Shy. In the end, I think BLG come away with more.
As a total, I mean, Elk did die as well, so I suppose it ends up being, what was that, 2 for 2, all things said and done? Who's the third person who died on IG?
We lost Wei, Gala, and Mako.
Wei ended up dying. That's the one which I missed then. So 3 for 2. Slightly better from BLG then. You're absolutely right. Okay, Elk pushed up too far. Has no flash. Didn't pop the ghost after he got hit by the root. Realized realistically he's just dead. Saves that. Summoner for another time. This is what we call full contact team fighting. You know, Beige One is caught out here. BLG have a couple of choices. Defend the Pantheon or attack the backline, which has exposed itself. Go trade your carries for carries if you have to. Beige One, the pick onto him doesn't really work after that point then, because, you know, there was no follow-up. They had to go and try and defend themselves. That leaves himself a little bit out of position, but gets one last rock. Punches a hole in the chest of Rakan.
Mako had been getting away with absolute murder this game, escaping so many ridiculous scenarios. Finally brought low. Atakan has now spawned, and we're pretty damn close on the gold. Atakan aggroed here. Just IG, but I don't know how much that really means, but it's only a percent one way or the other. BLG onto this tier 1. They've got Elk around. Wei finds a friendly threat here. It's slowed down by the Make It Rain.
IG have slightly better positioning on the Atakan right now. I don't know if they'll be able to confidently hold this Tri-Brush, but that's often a good point to hold around this objective. Wei, very tanky, Skarner, very strong around the Atakan because of these reasons.
Mako looking for a quickness. They've got the Impale, the Madness on by his time. It's a good Shattering Strike, but On is charmed off the bullet time. Would have been great if they could have just held someone there, but they can't.
Bin?
The shot's got one, but Bin's gone bloody deep. He's in the Hallow Mist, but look, he's just sanctifying the grave dirt he's buried in. Atakan now spawned as Bin has TP'd into his doom. Beige One has to flash one out of the Shi's decimating smash. The side switch up is wide, and Atakan, you've got to feel as IG for the 2-man advantage. BLG has to fight it out.
Roots on tonight. Was wondering if there's any follow-up there. Bin just teleported and flashed into his own death. The timing was poor, the execution not what he needed, and IG walk away with a couple of kills. Now, they're not able to get the Atakan after this. It is worth noting that the Atakan is still alive, but BLG, that contest left a lot to be decided, an awful lot. Bin cannot afford to play like that, even at the 2 items. Beige One, whoa, guys, we need to go back to life. There's a Pantheon! Observers, go back to life!
There's the picture immediately. They're flashing away. They have done exactly that. Beige One got himself another death on the board, and On needs to crash down. I might be crashing out. This one is Rookie. Goes looking for the pick. Will find another bit of CC onto Talia, courtesy of a deadly flourish. And Knight is forced to take a bow as Jin ensures they are dancing on the puppet string. 6, 1, and 5.
IG just collect BLG members as they fly into their face, uncoordinated, and BLG are going to give up this Atakan one way or the other. You have to feel. Bin's back again for another try.
Eagle's trying to stitch the game back up, but unfortunately for him, it's another Impale, another death, and Gala picks up a double, and Atakan is still there, and BLG, when it gets worse, they just continue to Leroy Jenkins in the hope it gets better.
This is the BLG we know and love from this split, folks. You know, I was setting up for a 3-0 on the storyline, perhaps a turn in it. Perhaps this was the twist. BLG, it's playoffs, it's LPL playoffs. They're ready to become the beast that we always knew that they were. This fight here is more what we've known from BLG in this split. It's messy, it's people going in on individual levels, and the cohesion is not there. Look at this flash in from Bin. He needs to flash away from the Siren Q, but there's no one following him. The Shy forces him to flash over the Q. Has another one to stop the follow-up there as well. Pantheon then ults afterwards, trying to catch IG on recalls. Doesn't realize that 3 people are still there. Loses the bluff, really. The Shy, instant value from his Q as well. His Siren has been arguably MVP of this Atakan fight, just by channeling Q in the right angles. And BLG, they have just not been coordinated.
They really haven't. Again, look, people ain't having misfortune. The thing is, you could substitute in most AD carries here, and I feel like the gameplay, in terms of the decision making, would still be a problem.
No, the thing is, the misfortune, I think, is bad at this point. Yes, I agree. I don't think it changes regardless of the AD carry the same way. Turns out, I actually agree with both chat and you, Sam. We're actually, for a while, I've not liked misfortune in the meta. It feels like there are enough things which stop her from having good ultimates, and there are enough champions which she just bluntly doesn't deal damage to. But BLG have more issues than just locking in this one thing. Now, the draft did require them to get early leads. It did require them to find creative angles, but we did say, you know, being creative, it's easy to start a creative angle, like, oh, I'm going to ult in as the Pantheon. Getting it in and then also executing well on it, that's the hard part of it. BLG, had dominated this series up until this game. IG, reminder, they are the higher seed coming into this. They beat BLG to get second. The winner of that last day of competition in regular season would have gotten the higher seed. IG bashed BLG. I don't think it was particularly close, actually, from memory in that series either. It was a fun one, a very fun one. But IG have had BLG's number across this split. Them going down 2-0 in the fashion they did was not what I expected. When it got to the late game, BLG were actually a little better than IG in those first two games. The early game was where BLG were winning in regular split, and they've done that again largely in this series. IG starting to reclaim their form a little bit here in game 3 now.
On the other side, Knight, it's not been good in the last 10 minutes. They've got a lot of CS pulled out earlier. 178 farm at this point in the game is very low.
He had about 130 farm at 18 minutes. It's 25 and he's got about 180.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's continuing to drop farm. Probably forbidden for Elk. Knight has done this from time to time, but he needs to be a lot of damage. He does need to be. I suppose they have a lot of carries to pick up the slack, but yeah, that's Leah. No Dark Seal stacks to pick up the slack there now. IG will wait for the next dragon. Baron is now up. We are now in the point of the game where IG's composition is in the ascendancy. BLG need to be very careful about how they approach fights.
Again, he's got 75% crit now on the Jin. He's picking up an Infinity Edge. Reminder, the second part of his passive, which people always forget about, the every moment matters, gives you an insane amount of scaling based on your crit and bonus attack speed. You get 4 to 44% extra bonus AD plus an amount of your crit, plus an amount of your attack speed. At this point, with 75% crit and level 14, the Jin damage is going to be pretty high. He's going to have some very significant AD numbers at this point. A huge amount of tank for BLG to deal with the raw one-shot burst of a Jin.
Oh, look how little vision they have. They have little vision on his very low HP as well. The range of the Gala Jin is going to be very threatening. 1W could end this game. Legitimately, a pick would lead to the Baron, would lead to the game. IG know the point of power they're in. All 5 in the Baron pit looking for the pick.
6,000 HP, they want to fight. The team managing to tank it well, because again, they've got the Shy. In goes Bin, they're trying to force the fight. Make sure it goes down, they're using bullet time. Ends up being Gala to secure it somehow, some way. The IG tried to hold the HP and force the fight, and BLG understandably say, look, we just chunk it out with our own ability, because they just don't win the flip.
It's own. It's still dangerous that they got down to a flip. IG get it. They get it onto all 5. They kill one member, and then with a minute till dragon, they'll push in the map and make sure the dragon is very hard to set up for BLG. We saw how difficult it was for BLG to fight with no vision there. Bin will spot the Shy. Wait, the enemy jungle getting picked.
Mako forcing Elk to back up with the Ghost, and does so, but he's not really there to do damage. Mako now potentially danger, but back down to safety. The Magical comes on him, but Knight is already down to about 20% HP. Bin looking to needlework. It's not bad, but again, he's very alone. Flash over to try and get towards Gala, who doesn't have the flash. Dodges so much. My God, the shot hurt. Now the curtains get called. They need to just about get out of range and do so. And unfortunately for Gala, the audience left before they could give him more applause.
Bin, it's another bad flash from him. Tries to take down his MSI winning teammate on 20-22. Can't find the kill. Gala, 9-1-7. On the Jin. You know, there were some arguments in chat earlier. Should it have been Gala or Jaculov as first All-Pro AD carry? The fact that they're both in the conversation is such a great thing to see. 2 great AD carries over time. I'm personally on Team Jaculov for the MVP of this split. God, he had a great split. But Gala wasn't too far behind. LPL AD carries, something of a specialty of ours. On tried to go in for the double catch on the carries. Great flashback from Rookie. The damage just isn't there from BLG. Their carries are not dealing the damage of this Azir and Jin.
Gala with a second shot did 2 like a third of Bin's HP.
Just saying, Bin has limited HP, this third dragon there for IG, and no armor at all. Yeah, Gala is hitting like a truck. There is no one that really stops the Jin from doing damage here.
Absolutely not. Again, more crit you get, more level you get, more bonus AD you get, and the more those crits hurt. It's the deceptive nature of Jin scaling, who can look like he does no damage until you get to this point in the game, and then you really, really do.
3,000 gold leads for the carries of IG each. That's the kind of greed they talk about in the Bible, folks. I suppose that yeah, man. Eat the rich. Eat the IG.
Why got that offered a cast recently?
Is that going to be Cho'Gath ulting? Like, I don't know. Like, who prints for Gangplank? Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was the people who had the bounties.
Right. Awesome. That's great. All right, Chash on the turret there. BLG. Yeah, this is struggle streets now. Realistically, they're thinking about game 4. We won't have a short series here today, I don't think. IG looking to end this game.
Wait. to be jumped on again. Like, again, he's dived once or twice, but it's largely forced so many resources from BLG that Gala with a turnaround curtain calls has been a bit of a menace. Rookie at this point had a much more stable game, and 3-man Impale into the quickness, the grand entrance, the unstoppable onslaught of Invictus Gaming will steamroll them to a game 4. They aren't done yet, and the clean sweep from Billy Gaming is denied.
Oh, we do have a bit of a soap opera. Enemies to lovers to enemies. Wait, gets the triple Impale against his old team. I brought you to Worlds last year. Here's an Impale to make sure there's a roadblock in this series. This will not be a clean 3-0. It will go to at least a 4th game.
I was worried we were going to have a very boring series, folks. Fortunately for all of us, it's anything but. Invictus Gaming crack their neck and swing a solid punch back.
And Neferi Lissandra, I think, works great in the mid-jungle TV2. Let's hear those gyros. Match point to BLG.
I'll make sure I remember exactly all of Lissandra's abilities. Iceborne Subjugation to create frozen thralls as the passive, if I recall correctly. It's a great one. Frozen 2. Glacial Path, isn't it? Is the E.
Yes, yep.
Ring of Frost is the W. And then is it going to be Ice Shard for the Q?
Yes.
Good, thank God. I always get a bit afraid it's not whatever Onivia's Ice Shardy thing is.
Lissandra doesn't even have to engage. You can just wait and blow up Vi or Ari. Well, normally I would agree with that, but you are against potential Zeri W and Jace Shock Blast poke, which can cause some issues. I think Kasante's happy to tank a bit to this. I'm going to be really interested to see if the fight setup is going to be slow or fast. I would imagine it's going to be slow from both teams, waiting for a little bit of poke or a good engage angle. Really, it's going to be about skirmishes if things are going to be quick. You have Zeri and Lissandra being able to cross over walls in very different ways for both teams. Now, if this was like Ruler on the Zeri pack, 1 second, that's, oof, God, good damage there.
Early cleanse, early heal, nice level 1 Q from On, and from Elk coming on in on an angle I don't think they were expecting. Maker will dodge that second Winter's Bite. Lose the double summons, but the shove should still be theirs. Way at a level 2 Vi is going to meet up with Bejuan, and Vi at level 2 is not exactly the most fun time of all experiences. Rookie now roaming on down. Bejuan may be forced to eviscerate over the wall.
Rookie's going to lose wave control because of this. Knight should get himself another Q on the wave as and when he needs. Bejuan's going to go back into the jungle. If he hits a double daggers, he does win the trade. Doesn't hit it there. Way slowed down on his clear.
Get the Raptors and came straight on over, but of course Bejuan has nabbed the Wolves in trade, so does theoretically at the minute have that camp advantage, but won't spend too much time trying to be a menace in the jungle. Cost away a little bit into the Kiana actually. Couldn't really interrupt her too much early on the Wukong, ended up giving up more camps than they were willing as the respawns happened in their own jungle.
Surprised that Bin hasn't played a single game with Kasante this split. He was so damn good at it before. Misses the W there though. Shy down a level. Great sidestepping the Shy. Of course, had that awesome outplay onto Breathes Kasante a little earlier in the split on the Yorick. The 0 mana, 0 ult solo kill from Yorick. Bonked him over the head. If you missed that clip, by the way, and all the very short things, so you've got to plug it every now and then. Wade could flash onto Knight here.
While, of course, you know, Bejuan is on the Krugs on the other side. Worth noting, Wade did invade, or re-invade on the other side to counter Bejuan's move. Can't find the look into mid. Will slow down his clear a little bit here as a result. Will spot out that the doggo isn't around and needs to make some moves now because Bejuan's just getting an extra half a quadrant.
Yeah, Knight getting the early shove in mid lane, really helping Bejuan. Didn't get the clean blue buff steal, but just allows him to have unparalleled access to that side of the map. Elk putting a ward over onto the red buff to make sure that Way will be spotted if he does go towards a camp steal there, and he will be spotted now. So Bejuan has information of where Way is. Bejuan is recalled, got a long sword, and will be able to go towards this bot side. Doesn't have smite, so we might just look for the fight instead of the camp secure.
Way should be able to get the smite, but then you've got to watch out for the Braum coming on over, makes things tricky. Does he want to go back in for the smite? Won't be able to do it, and so
great timing.
Really good early game from Bejuan.
Great timing, but this is the coordination from BLG that we've been asking for. You know, Knight pushing up mid lane so Bejuan can invade onto both sides of the enemy jungle. Bot lane putting down vision after getting an early, lapse to go into their own jungle and put down vision. This is a team-wide effort to get Bejuan more information to play the map with, so he's going to be a buff up onto Wei after stealing one and securing his own. He's even going to go for the Raptor respawn onto Wei.
When they're coming up, has a Scuttle Crab to go for in the river as well, so we'll get a double Scuttle and an extra camp, theoretically, but Rookie now threatening to come on over. Wei goes into the area. Should be able to try and take some of those small dogs. Raptors. There's hot dogs around as well.
Yeah. Getting glizzy with it.
They get the Scuttle Crab as well. Wei gets what? 2 little Raptors, that's it.
One of the complaints we had about Beitron last time he was on BLG, compared to Shadow, who I think was better at this when he first came in, was Beitron wasn't good at selfish pathing. He wasn't good at pathing for himself. He was actually on TT when he was there before. I wonder whether just the pecking order of BLG and Beitron being, you know, the newbie and the guy coming in lower down the totem pole, I wonder if that affected it. Wei might get around the back of bot lane here, actually. On needs to be a little bit careful. So does Elk, actually.
Great double glitter lands. Wei's thinking about this. They're throwing down the heal. It's all a bit of a ruse. Second heal comes on forwards. Elk with flash with barrier, but Wei's not going to get any counts. Not going to get the gank. It's still stuck at 20 CS. He's like 2/3, if that. He's going to counter the reset and try and get this at the very least. He needs to get something here because he is falling desperately far behind on the bar.
Wei was spotted by the control ward. His smite's over there. His Q's still on cooldown for now.
Flashes has to, but Elk's flashing as well. Over comes the Sandra. She's got a level 6. The Frozen 2. Throw out the Winter's Bite. And Knight claims first blood.
BLG's early jungle tracking is so good in this game. It is a team-wide effort to get Beitron ahead and to shut Wei behind.
Pathmaker comes on forward. Bin can potentially go all out here. Maybe has to do so. Can stack up the Intropo strike. So Shy flashes back as well. Ends up being Bin the better of the trade in terms of summoners, even if his health bar is at risk.
I remember a Lysandra pentakill earlier this year. Yeah, it was Scout. Scout played one game of Lysandra earlier this year and got a pentakill on it, which was, I think, unexpected for everyone involved, actually. That was a really weird game. Yeah, I remember it was around bot lane in a turret. And, yeah. Anyway, had a lot of games in this LPL season. Very hard to remember all of them. It was one of the special ones, though. BLG really focusing on how their early game has been a coordinated effort to make sure that the jungle matchup goes in their favor. Look at the jungle CS difference between these two teams. I will say currently, you know, Gala has got a good CS lead over Elk, about, you know, 15 or so, although there will be a wave killed in top lane. Dragon started by IG. IG not too far behind in overall gold. Luckily for them, they need to be afraid, though, if BLG gets settled in, get control over areas of the map, and force them to play, like we saw from Wei there, into enemy territory, while there's so much CC on BLG from the likes of the Lysandra to shut them down.
That mid-jungle starts really rolling. It could get very tricky. There's no one, at least early on, until things like Mikhail's comes on, who will survive the combo. Beitron on Raptors here, but that's a lot of members of Invictus Gaming, and Beitron is very deep here. Has to flash over. Ari's still got the ability to charm. Mako flashing on forward. Still going to give a kill back over. That's too far.
It's too far, and the kill goes to the Dark Seal. Ari, Mako, no flash, and it'll be a 1-for-1. Beitron actually gets an assist on that too, so he picks up a little bit of extra gold. Knight, weirdly for himself, not having a Dark Seal for once in his career. He doesn't have the Dark Seal early on. Enough to set up for that, though. Gets himself an assist after the kill earlier. Kill goes over to the Braum of all people.
Fortunate slightly that that's who it goes to, but hey, you'll take the kill you can get on now. Trying to land a Winter Spike will not do so. Part of that is the fact there's 3 control wards right now in IG's jungle, so they think they're safe. Mako goes, look, cool, we killed the jungle on the invade, get some wards down. I've got people in mid lane. Couldn't track bot lane roaming down.
See that Knight got a decent freeze up here onto Rookie. Rookie, interesting choice in runes, by the way, choosing not to go towards the bone plating. I think actually lost him priority earlier. Sometimes you can win the trades versus Lysandra early by taking bone plating, taking one on the shoulder, really, getting a hard trade, trading electrocute. If the other player doesn't go bone plating at that point, you can have the advantage. See that Knight's actually gone to the Comet. Sometimes you will still see something like the electrocute or the spellbook even on them. But in this top side potential, Beitron level 6 now, obviously great ability to chase that Zeri even if she runs away.
Yeah, very dangerous this game indeed. Again, you've got a lot of good setup here for the Neferi. Again, she can do some of her own stunts at a certain point in the game, but any assistance in terms of dive buddies or CC is always appreciated. Have to make her angle from Bin. Gonna try and get the Untold Strike part 3. Does not land, and the Shy lucky enough to wait around. And Beitron going back on the invade. Needs to be a bit wary here. Will eviscerate. Dodge the attempted Volt Breaker. Angle, Wei should pick up his own red buff, but was being threatened. TP's coming, though. I wonder whether Wei's going to clear this fast enough. He needs some support now.
There's no one really roaming away from their lanes. Ari's quite scared to move over here as well, because if Ari moves over, yes, has the Merc Treads first. Lysandra's still going to add a load of CC into you. There's a chance that Braum could follow the CC combo. By the way, Braum-Lissandra, highly underrated duo, as one will lead into the CC of the other.
Okay.
Finn is in a bit of trouble now.
Pathmaker does have the flash, does have the all-out. There's no mana on the Shy. Gonna try and go forwards. All-out to get through the wall. Gonna go down to the skies. Oh my days, actually the turnaround's pretty damn good. Trying to get the hypercharger. Flash from Finn! And solo kill for the Cassante.
That's revenge for 23 semi-finals. Rookie will clean things up, though. Make sure it's not just a vulnerable 1v1. And Rookie gets 2 more Dark Seal stacks. Rookie's Ahri is one of the best in the world. It's into a hard comp to play it into with that Lissandra, which we were calling before. But Rookie, with an extra bit of AP on the Dark Seal, could start to snowball.
Flash difference there was huge. And of course, the Shy with no mana couldn't go through more of those rotations. And it all gets a bit tricky.
Tried to go into Hammer Form to get a little bit more mana back. Finn realizes, hang on, no, I've got Q3, I've got some cooldowns. Let's see if we can keep this going. Shy just runs out of mana midway through. Form changing, gets some good sidesteps. It's not bad from the Shy, just doesn't have the bloody resources. And Cassante is a champion of all time. Gets the Omnivamp by going into all out. This is W for a lot of damage, and probably overcomplicates things with the flash there, actually, but kills him anyway with a bit of help from minions.
Yeah, goes for. I think he got him out of range of the auto there, potentially. Actually, I think he was having to take it back, but either way.
No, Sam, he flashed legitimately nothing.
Okay, I was like, is it out of range of a melee auto?
Sam,
mate?
he was in cannon form. He was in ranged form. He wasn't getting out of range of that. Oh, gosh. Anyway, he still gets the kill. Giving one back over to Rookie, though, that's a bit of an issue. If Rookie gets to Malignance, Liandry's, and then a little bit of Pen, I think he's really happy. I think he's really, really happy with this game. I think he should go towards those 2 items. There's going to be a decent amount of HP across the Cassante and the Braum. You probably do want to be going a little bit of front to back with the likes of your Zeri on your team.
Is there a world where you go for a Zhonya's or a Banshees at some point in this build?
I don't think you need it. Let's be honest, Zhonya's doesn't save you versus Lissandra, because if you don't get to Zhonya's the Lissandra ultimate.
Realistically, I need more Banshees. Potentially, like, deal with Braum or a Lissandra, a bit of CC interrupting your engage.
I think you have a great position to go Leandry's in this game. You have the Merc Treads already. You're likely going to have the Mikhails on your support. I think you'll be fine with that point. Now, if you go like to 4th item, yeah, absolutely, you can think about it. But your core items are definitely Malignance into Leandry's as a certified RE1 trick over here. Those of you that don't know me, I've like several million points on Ahri. It's a problem. It's a problem. Dragon up in 10 seconds. IG. Do we see our first group fight of the game? There is no Mikhails yet. You have 1 item in for the real big threats of BLG of that mid jungle, and then of course the Sivir as well. I wonder if IG feel that without their first items themselves completed, now is not the time to fight.
H1. Start up the dragon with Knight. Gold is pretty much dead even. I'll note that IG BLG managed to get the first 3 kills. We've got that marketable, so it's going to be a second objective for them, so they only need 1 more. We've got a couple minutes until Herald. That would likely be the next angle as the Shy goes to the skies briefly against Bin.
Lies on the top side of the map. Quite hard to do much against the Cassante at this kind of HP. Has Thorn Shield, has a good amount of armor, and has the refillable pot ticking. Still don't think they should really go for a dive up here. And the arcane failed you of Jason Vite. Perhaps not wanting to add another one to that dismal record they had in the show. Takes the Gromp, gets out.
Elk is on a little roam up the river. Not sure how much fun he'd have there if Gala and Mako decided to jump over the wall to join Wei, though. So, step away from that one. Scuttle Crab is there, but I think IG are just going, look, we probably don't win a skirmish right now in the river with where our laners are at. So, that one can go to base one.
Now wait until you get your own first items. Malignance now in for Rookie. He has, also important to note, 2 Dark Seal, not the Dark Seal stacks, 2 Ultimate Hunter stacks with the Malignance as well. Malignance gives you about 50 ability. You get some base from going towards Ultimate Hunter. I think it's 20 base, and then you get an extra 30-something from the stacks. They did change that a little bit. With 2 in there, he's probably rocking like an extra 30 ability haste from the Malignance. So he's got about 80 haste onto
the ult alone, yeah.
Onto the ult alone. So that's almost half the cooldown on the ultimate. You're at level 11, so it's about, what, 105, 110 seconds or whatever base cooldown. They changed that again recently, too. So your ultimate is going to be at around about, 70 to 80 seconds. Quite high uptime on that ultimate now. So Rookie very happy to trade his ultimate, even in kind of cheap scenarios, just to keep himself safe or look for a different fight.
Worth noting for all the CS discrepancy for Elk, did get a cull in inventory, about to catch that in, which will help mitigate some of those early laning deficits.
Herald up in 30 seconds. Did we mention that yet? Did we mention that?
No,
Okay.
we actually called it that it was going to be in 2 minutes. That would likely be our next objective, but that was 2 minutes ago. So, good time to call it back out again.
Nice, cool. Well, Rookie's pushing up top side. See what his second item is. Like I said, I think he really should go towards something like the Leandries after that. It does even open up something like a Bloodletters, actually, which can be quite nice. Knight using the Protobelt to clear the way out. Has got that for a bit more target access. Very strong one item plus boots build, actually, from Lysandra. It's a very high burst in terms of target access. The pen you get from your boots as well. Means that Lysandra can be a huge threat. And Mako doesn't have first item yet. Doesn't have something like a Mikhail's or a Redemption. That's a big breakpoint for IG. They really want that first item for the Lulu. Not often do we talk about support breakpoints, but it's important in this game.
Baitron missing those Darking Daggers. They don't come on through this time around, and Wei is quick enough to dodge away. Baitron starting up the Herald. Control ward over the back of the pit. We'll spot it happening. And I think IG want to contest.
Perhaps they do. IG, they gave up a couple of fights earlier and chose not to contest, like around that dragon just before. Perhaps this is the time. That's the ult coming through from the Braum.
TP from the Lysandra. Jace is resetting, looking to potentially TP in himself. Wanted an item, I think, but it's down to 2,000 HP. That means this Herald is likely going the way of BLG. No real way to get in. The charm is solid enough, but it's well path make it. Herald secured. Is there a fight afterwards? Vault Breaker back. Shy getting a bit of damage onto Bim, but that's a pretty scary and tanky frontline for Shy. Now in danger, turned into a Frozen 2. Hound's pursuit, over the wall goes Wei. Gets Wild Growth, fleece him assist, but over the wall goes Bin and goes all out for Gala. Running at Elku's trying to run away. Flash, full auto. 1-for-1 as it stands. Lysandra trades back onto the Zeri.
It's a 1-for-1, but the Herald goes to BLG, and the HP bars go to BLG as well. Despite them not finishing many, they have enough to get this Herald into mid lane. IG, they didn't go for the steal, they looked for the fight. Now Mako's caught. Flash away. Herald will continue charging down mid lane. IG, they thought they were ready to fight. In fairness, Gala with the Lulu behind him did a lot of damage, but I think there were a couple of big mechanical misplays there. Honestly, I think Rookie's at the front, at the center of them. His first charm of that fight wasn't good enough. We'll look through this again. Watch what happens when the Shy is jumped onto here. Knight finds a great angle, finds the Shy separated from his team. This charm here should have been much better. You can get it onto the Neferi before the dogs end up resummoning themselves. We stop the ultimate pretty much as it flies through. And then I think they could have walked towards that. I think Rookie could have done a lot more work. He's firing the ult, the charm a little bit too stray and even misses the second one in that play. IG needs to tighten up in the mechanical play. BLG now with 1,000 gold advantage and the territory, the most important tower of the game to take in the game that mid lane outer turret claims for themselves.
Look, I get that it forced a backstep on Knights. You can't get the Ring of Frost off, can't get the Frost Shard off, but it's not going to change anything really, whereas the charm on that Fury really could have. The 20 seconds till the Dragon will have ult back up again. We can try to replay that fight.
And the thing for me is, like, if anything, I care less about charm accuracy, Azari, because sometimes you miss skill shots. I care much more about the decision making. That was a low chance, low impact charm at the first start of that fight. You could have saved it for a much more important moment. As you were saying, it wouldn't really have made much of a difference. Elk finding Wei finding Elk. Ships not in the night, actually. Spotlights on
ships in the day.
Ships in the day. Hello there. They caught out by a Braum Q. H1 does have his ult back up and available. Ignite, dubstep Ignite dropped onto Wei. It cycles him around to things. Dragon alive.
Actually, onto who's going to go real low. He's down into a body wrap and Gala gets it. That's much better value.
There we go. Rookie gets a better charm this time. Gets himself to the Dark Steel stack, and the Dragon likely bought from that. Much better from IG. Does BLG lose one quickly? They were not ready for that Dragon fight.
The CC is somewhat limited, but the damage ain't bad from IG if they can layer it all together. Now they can look for a bit more here, potentially. Knight needs to back away from this turret.
I don't think you get much here. He has his ult under turret. Realistically, you're not killing this guy. I don't think so.
Big season assist, gonna come on through the Ring of Frost is there, and there's the ult. All the while Bing gets the turret, TP's now flying, but Knight, where do you go? Get silenced and dies. TP now comes on in, Wei should be able to back out. Elk's coming on over, Redemption's here to try and kill off Wei. Wild Growth now coming on and Bin. Pathmaker on 2. Wait, Mako's low, gets a bit of a shield, but you can only put so far. Rookie now
charm.
Looking for a charm. It's a really good angle, and Bin with all his resist gone goes.
Rookie is just the master of Fog of War. Hides around the corner, manages to get one back, but realistically, IG probably shouldn't have gone for that dive. It was always going to take a little too much time. Bin still manages to clean back 2. It's a 2 for 2, better than IG realistically would deserve it of that. Now they have to defend their own bot lane turret.
Eats a nasty shot blast there, loses about 25% of his HP, so defense successful. Charm. Backstep from Elk, did have the spell shield there. Gala wins the fight over the Grump actually there with a Q.
Small victories, you take them sometimes. within 1,000 gold, going up towards the 20-minute mark. Mako will spot the blue buff. Going down here. Just be a little bit careful. You're not just a little Lulu. You do die if people jump on you. The game is close enough for this to be a very interesting set of fights coming up. We're getting towards the 2 to 3 item mark. BLG's comp is very, very strong right now. They want to be bullying their way around the map. Elk alone on the spot side turret has the 2 items. And I gotta say, I've had a lot of complaints about Elk in late game team fights, but not on the Sivir. I think his Sivir has been very, very clean. Gonna go back to the dive here. It's a 4-man dive onto the Lissandra. Does put the Viol through very quickly. But it's very hard to kill off the Lissandra in times. Goes the ult onto the shot blast, make sure there's a little bit less damage coming through onto him. Buys an extra turret shot, and it means that the Sivir ult and everything else gets a lot of threat. Even the Redemption gets some damage down there. Good double Q. The only thing saving the play here is the fact that Rookie gets a great fog of war play. Finn tries to go further forwards. Great charm. No chance to W that one. Rookie very good at that particular skill set.
It's worth noting that Gala picked up both kills. He's now 4-1 on Zeri.
Yeah, and that's really, really strong. You have a Lulu behind it. Can Zeri Lulu win against this mid-game spike from BLG? Of course, there is the scaling of the Sivir later as well. It's not like it's going to be completely one way or the other. Gala, though, we were talking high about him before, saying, actually, could he have been first all-pro AD carry?
Ooh, good shot. Gets his way into the bush. It's a good door timing there on. Going to get a little bit of a knock up onto Rookie. Will ult away. Maybe forced to do a bit more than that. There comes the heal from Mako. Keeps himself topped off. Still got the charge to work with. Atacon now being looked at. Charm lands the Pathmaker. Keeps been in one piece.
Now Rookie has no ultimate. It's a short cooldown, but it's not that short. Atacon is alive. Really like that BLG just looked to force the ult out there. Rookie so much less powerful now. Atacon still being leashed.
Elk and On both down there. Ult 2 worth noting. So not as full arsenal for BLG either. Keep your eyes on it. Gala still has the lightning crash, and that should be scary.
You still have Knight with his own ultimate. Here he goes.
Gets the Ring of Frost. Damage goes on down. Wild goes by. Time for the Shy. Gets a good to the skies. And does take the Fury with him. Now Caesar descends to the backside. Trying to get damage away. It's a one-way trip. Goes down. Flash away from Gala. Keeps us alive. The Frozen Thralls go down onto Gala. And they will lose an additional member.
So close to IG just sweeping that fight. But the Shy didn't quite do enough work as he went down. Rookie
flashes away. Gets a charm that means nothing.
Uses that flash, dies, Darksteel stack's largely gone now. IG, that should have been the winning fight for them, but BLG out-execute. He went way too deep. No follow-up available to him, really. And BLG, despite this being the area of the game which they've so often fallen apart on, will get themselves the fight they need, will get themselves the Atacon, and now they are well and truly ahead in this game.
Reset to come on through, and they had not.
It was BLG that did this in the last game, remember? They threw the Pantheon ult midway through that fight. Wow, they must have reset. Obviously, that wasn't the case there, and BLG got blasted. BLG looking a lot better in the mid to late game than they were earlier in this split. That is the most important thing that we can learn about this team. You know, Knight goes forwards, and it's not like there's really that much disengage there. You know, there's no Mikhails built up by the Lulu. Patron dies because he ends up getting blasted by the hammer form of the Shy. It's a great turnaround given the situation he's in. He's always dying. Then Way goes through. Gets hit by everything. Too far, really. You have to play around your area a little more. I think you just take the 1-for-1, knowing you just killed the jungler. You just killed the jungler. You could have just played around that, the fact there was no smite on the other side. Then Rookie, this one's a little unforgivable. We said he's very good at playing around Fog of War. So on BLG, use his own weapon against him.
Gonna go clear out some of those wards. Had to be dealt with. Couldn't leave them there with Atacon, a possibility of a teleport and stuff. I get the thought process, I do, but the problem with your team comp as well as IG is who really does face check.
Shy will get himself the top side turret, gets himself some more gold. Perhaps he can be a difference maker later on if he can thread that shock blast away from those tanks and onto the Sivir or Lissandra. Perhaps they can make a difference because it wants to spell shield bits and pieces, but the extra bit of damage can mean an awful lot of difference. BLG will get themselves second dragon to match IG, who also have 2 on the table. We're getting close to 3 items now, folks. Rookie has gone for the Horizon Focus second instead of going towards the frontline burn build. Wants to have more damage up front in terms of squishy damage. I do wonder whether that's a mistake. I think IG realistically could be going towards much more of a frontline burn build, but as always, the way that I'll phrase things is if you build something and you justify the build, I don't care. Let's see if Rookie can manage to do that. Very good stat stick is the Horizon Focus, very efficient nowadays. Perhaps that he can use that to burst out someone like the Lissandra or even someone like the Neferi if he catches them out in the right angle.
That third item we talked about has just come on through for Gala as well. There's the Infinity Edge on the back. Zeri is online.
All right, Gala. We talked a lot about the early game of the Ahri and Rookie, how good he is at it. The baton has now been passed over towards the Zeri. Yes, Rookie will still have a part to play, but if Zeri can have a good game with a Lulu behind them, with this kind of gold lead, Gala can get IG to Silver Scrapes. BLG on the other side. All right, you have yourselves Alessandra. There's no Mikhails on the other side. It's a redemption first from Mako. You have plenty of options to still engage. Gala has Cleanse. You won't save him from absolutely everything, especially if they can blow that before a fight.
And the Braum, right? He's got a spellbook to give some options. But he's not got Aftershock. He's got Redemption, so you can catch him before the door comes up. He can get popped.
Other things we'd like to talk about here as well is that BLG. You have a massive gold lead in the jungle. It's actually the biggest gold lead on the whole rift. Baytron, folks, we didn't think we'd see him. We thought he was just completely gone. Hadn't played for BLG in 2 months. No, they said he'd been in hospital for a shoulder injury, actually. Of course, that stuff in terms of your posture can really affect the way you click things. It really can, genuinely can do. Baytron is back after Shadow, and the team with Shadow, it's not just Shadow, the team with Shadow was underperforming. I don't think it's an individual problem. As we said, changing your jungler is like going under the knife in surgery. You're changing something very core to yourself, and it often leads to complications afterwards. The anesthetic wore off a little bit. Sam's talked about it being more like a soap opera. The players and different teams they played against. They played against Sherman, their first jungler before, playing against Wei now, the second jungler. Baytron and Shadow just playing for themselves over the last 2 series. BLG don't really know where their power comes from. We're trying to portend the omens a little bit when it comes to this team.
Was it Hollyoaks that was the hospital soap drama?
Wasn't that called Doctors?
There's a few.
I can't remember. Jumps out of pocket before. Quite hard to catch the Neferi at max range because you often have enough. One, your dogs are behind you, and 2, you often have the reaction time for your W. Dragon, Baron rather, started right now.
Big purple neutral objective. Taken down to about 25%. About 25% HP gone. Teleport coming. IG gonna come and fight this.
They are IG. They have such a powerful Zeri. Now, remind folks, this is round 2. You get through to this, you get yourself guaranteed into top 3. You gave yourself a good chance of going to Worlds. You don't auto-qualify for going towards that necessarily. There's a lot of extra noise in the data from that, but you're definitely getting yourself into the regional qualifiers. And the seeding will definitely help there too. Qualifying for Worlds, you got to win a lot of games here, folks. IG had a great regular split. BLG, well, they got pipped to the post by IG. They finished 3rd behind IG. It's not something we often would say about BLG, though, the titans domestically that they have been. IG, after such a great split, though, they must stick the landing in playoffs. And right now, they'd really love to force a game 5 if they can win the series.
Fisher comes on down, across the wall, goes Knight with the path, won't find it.
Ah, no, I thought I could, actually.
Yeah,
actually, vision control's being taken by BLG, it turns out. I am allowed to make mistakes every now and then. God damn it, folks, if you're gonna be right, at least be right, you know? Gala, can he carry this fight? No, marked on the exit point by the Champ. Slow sets a great W there from Gala. Great damage from him.
What I will say, something we've not talked about is IG have drafted for a lot of mobility. They both know each other and can't make the Iron Ring of Frost. Rookie will ult flash away, and Gala tries to turn around to the other point.
Not great value, actually. That Lightning Crash is going to be on a longer cooldown now. It doesn't have something like the Hex Plate, which we've occasionally seen from the champion. Neither team fully sticking the engage.
Let's call it out. We didn't get a chance. That was a bit awkward. I was about to say... Again, what IG do have is a fair amount of range and a lot of mobility. Everyone has got speed ups or dodges over walls or a whimsy from a Lulu, ults from Rookie, slides from Zeri. It's not easy to lock down IG if they don't want to be there.
And it really feels like a single mistake could cause this game to fall apart. Now, BLG around the late game have made some of those singular mistakes. 20 seconds till Dragon now. Both of the big objectives available. Do we see Baron or Dragon trade? Yeah, those are red side redemption. IG will know. That's less of a cowboy game. It's much more of a Baron one here. They'll know that one's getting started. Way jumping forwards. Baron's still leashed by BLG.
What's the HP at? Can't quite see. Down to half now, we know. Still got that angle in. Flash, Vault Breaker, Cease and Desist, all available. Way, going to be very hard to keep out of the pit. Bin flashing for him, trying to get him away from the Baron, successfully so. Way now jumping onto Bin, gets pulled over the wall with that angle. How pursue? Wild Growth knocks up 2. All the while, Knight's trying to reset. As the Shy was looking for, and they get out with everyone. Good angle from BLG.
The Shy just flashed onto Knight to get a chunk onto him. He does have teleport to get back into the play, so mission unsuccessful from IG, stopping the Baron and also getting a kill onto Lysandra. This likely means IG will have to give up the Dragon as well, but I don't know if they can afford to do so. Giving a soul point over, knowing that the Baron's already in their possession as well. Great objective play by BLG. Bin making sure Wei cannot get into the pit.
soul point now for BLG. A likely additional price, as you were saying. Bin is there, noted by Way with the control wall, but they know where Way is. He's going to be allowed nowhere near this pit. Knight is warding one side, Bin the other. Rookie looking for Charm, and Bin will footwork away.
BLG just took a huge advantage in this game, folks. They get the Baron, they get themselves third Dragon, threatening a soul later into the game. IG couldn't quite find themselves to the Baron, couldn't quite find themselves the play onto the Lissandra either. IG, this was a problem we highlighted in their draft. Their actual ability to start a fight is quite hard, actually, especially now with Way at 0 and 3. Obviously, the Vi is often the one which is punished a lot on the engage, because...
What does Way do this game?
You mark the landing point, and everyone else just pops their ultimates on you. Pushing in towards mid lane. 3 grubs for BLG makes this push even better for them.
Clear out this Way. The side goes to the skies briefly, and will help knock down most of the cannon minion behind, though. Gets Stun Beams load away. He's not entering the turret anymore and drops that aggro, and they just about hold on to it in the mid lane. From his bot side, 4 members of BLG will swiftly bring down the team.
Yeah, Way was in the enemy jungle trying to take some farm for himself because he's down so much individually, but that means their big engage tool isn't here. Is Way spotted? Yeah, Way's just been spotted in the mid lane.
Bloody hell, he nearly goes down. They're going to go on in. Gala, Wild Growth, staying alive for a second. Demetrius goes down, but he takes Alessandro with him. They lose a load of members. How about the rest of the play? Out needs to run. The heal, keeping people alive. Bin in the front line. Charm lands onto On. The door goes up.
Rookie can't carry the team with this build. He's not there to one-shot the team. He's got cooldown for Charms. Charms to Casante again.
Does get some damage to the skies. They go, but a Pathmaker ensures that the Shy is brought from the skies and straight into the dirt. Ground pounded and out. On goes looking for a Winter's Bite. Can't find it, but BLG with 4 members standing are closing out the series here and now.
BLG marched towards the Nexus. IG finished above them by beating them. BLG will send Invictus Gaming to the lower bracket.
We were doing dissections on BLG saying that this team, surely it was done at the end of the year. Surely they were going to fumble and fall to the lower brackets. It was Invictus Gaming's time.